Hello, I'm Paul.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Ben.
And welcome to the Film Busters podcast. The film show with no filters, no prisoners taken, loads of disagreements, but one hell of a love for cinema.
If you want to hear three friends ridiculing each other for an hour or so regarding their taste in films, then you have come to the right place.
In each episode, one of the team picks a film for us to discuss. It could be anything from a recent cinema release to an all-time classic.
So, strap in and get ready to get mad or get vindicated as we guide you through the murky world of being a film geek.
If you like what you hear, you can also find us on Twitter and Instagram using @FilmbustersPod. You can also find each of our individual accounts. I'm at Filmbusters Paul.
I'm at Filmbusters Adam.
And I'm at Filmbusters Ben.
If you want to use your eyes instead of your ears, you can also visit the website at filmbusters.pod.co.uk.
And if busting makes you feel good, you can also support us at patreon.com/filmbusters for exclusive content.
Alright, can we just get on with this now, please?
Filmbusters.
Hello, wonderful listeners. We're back again. It's been a while. It's the new year. We were planning to do this episode just before New Year, but I got scarlet fever.
Scarlet fever because he lives in the 17th century.
I know.
I'm an old peasant.
It
An
does
old
sound
peasant
like
boy.
something from the 17th century. It doesn't sound like a modern day thing.
It definitely got named back then.
Explain it.
So it's quite dangerous in children. So Woody got it, and he was very, very unwell. And I had to leave my work Christmas do to go get him because he was feeling very unwell. And
Made me
luckily,
upset.
we got him some antibiotics. It took a while. It took about 5 days for him to actually start feeling any better. So it was a little worrying, but we got there. But then he just gave it to me and Zoe anyway. And I got it the worst. I was shivering.
Did you have it worse than he did?
No, he was coughing like completely like for it felt like probably about 15 days that he was like proper
15
ill.
days.
Yeah, obviously by the end of those 15 days he was feeling better, but yeah, it was a long haul, and yeah, I was shivering for a whole night, and then I had it was like a extreme hangover for 2 days.
Wow. And how are you
No
now?
good. I'm all good now. Fine. Absolutely fine. But we had to isolate for 2 weeks, see no one for Christmas because it's very contagious.
The thing is, before COVID, I don't recall there being a sort of you have to isolate.
No, you don't.
Thing.
You don't.
Right.
But like we went to the doctors. We checked. So the sign of scarlet fever is a strawberry tongue, right? Which is if you look at your tongue, there's like spots down the side, mate. It looks like a strawberry. And we saw it on Woody. It was like, oh shit, he's got it. And then it just so happens the night before I got this fever, I looked at my tongue. I was like, oh shit, I've got this. And Zoe had it as well. And so we thought, okay, we better go to the doctors because they might be able to give us antibiotics. And the guy said, you're not bad enough to get them, but you are very contagious. And when someone says that,
Yeah.
it's
You don't
like,
want to
man.
infect people, do you?
And when it's bad in kids, I don't want to see my nieces. I don't want to spread it onto anyone just in case it gets to their kids.
You don't want to fuck up people's Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. So we did the right thing, basically.
Diddums, man.
It's all right. It's all right. Back to work. It's all good.
Exactly, back to the grind. So you had a sick Christmas. How was
Yes.
yours, Adam?
Yeah, one of those kind of Christmases. Those nice Christmases, chilled. Chelsea was very unwell over Christmas Day.
Oh,
Shit
she
is
better
going
now?
She was
on.
unwell after Christmas over New Year. Yeah, she's better now.
okay.
Everyone's had sick ones. I had a good, well Christmas, and now I'm feeling bad today, the last 2 days, and just got a message from Jenny also saying that she's not feeling well.
Oh no.
So there is a new strain, they are saying, of COVID, which is particularly like the most transmissible at the moment since Omicron, more transmissible than Omicron. So I wonder if it's that.
We'll see. We'll see if everyone has to start staying at home again. And
I
wearing
haven't even encountered
masks.
people since New Year's Eve, so I don't
Yeah.
like 6 days later to get it.
But Jenny might have given it to you.
That's true. That's true. But anyway, we're putting all that in the past, along with all the films that we've done this year in this episode.
Yes, exactly. This is the non-uniform day of all episodes.
It is.
This is the end of school, end of term, before we start a new term. where we're just having a bit of fun, chatting about some films we watched over the year. It's very delightful.
It is delightful. And we're going to reflect and talk about the highlights, the lowlights. Well, no lowlights, just highlights.
Yes, just all the highlights. No Bad news in this episode.
To people who haven't listened to an end of year episode from us before, maybe this is the first episode they're listening to get a sense of what we're about. We're going to do 3 lists, essentially.
Yes,
We're going to talk about our top 10 first-time watches this year, which it doesn't mean a film that was released this year. It's just the first time we've ever watched that particular film in our own history.
Yeah.
Our top 10 first-time watches. And then we do our top 20 films released in 2022, with 11 to 20 being the honourable mentions, and then 1 to 10 being the absolute best of the year. And we spend a bit more time on the absolute best of the year.
Yes, we do indeed. But before all that, let me just talk about our Patreon, because we've got a special episode coming out after this episode. If you want to get to our patrons at www.patreon.com/filmbusters, we get exclusive content. We have a lovely family over there, and you can just have a wonderful time. But after this episode, Adam, what are we doing?
We are going to talk about our letterbox stats of the year. So we're going to do a little letterbox wrapped, whatever you want to call it. These things those companies give you to tell you how much time you spent on their website.
And all the best actors and all the best directors we've been watching.
Exactly.
Yes, I'm always very hyped by that, potentially more so than this particular episode, because as the year goes on, I keep looking at which actors I've watched the most, and then I'm like, oh, is that going to change? Who's going to drop off? Who's going to come in unexpected?
Mine at all.
Oh,
yeah, I avoid it.
No, I
avoid
always
that
watch.
section. Because I like to be surprised.
No, I'm always watching that, mate. Always watching that.
I have no idea who it could be. I knew last year because I was watching so many animated DC films, so I knew it was going to be a certain director. But I couldn't even imagine this year. I don't know.
Yeah.
You can probably guess who my highest one is, as usual. But
And I'll mispronounce all the actors and actresses' names.
absolutely, you will.
We love that.
I hope you've watched loads of Bryan Cranston films this year, so you are forced to pronounce it.
Is there many Bryan Cranston films worth watching?
No, but he makes the sort of shitty middle of the road films that would probably appeal to you, sir. So there's every chance.
I mean, I can't probably name you that many films. Like
Argo,
was he in Argo?
That Godzilla film.
Godzilla.
Was in Godzilla
Yeah.
at the beginning. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. And Drive, obviously.
Drive, very good. There you go. There's 3. Let's see what
We
more we
watched
can
El
do from
Camino.
memory.
We watched El Camino this year, so that's part of it.
True.
There you go. Maybe you have seen all the Cranstons.
I haven't watched Argo this year. Don't worry.
Oh, go
Don't
fuck
even know
yourself.
who's in Argo.
Fuck Argo.
Yeah, it was no good.
Yeah. Before everything, though, we've got a little thing to finally finish off before we start a new next episode. And what is that?
We're doing the quiz, aren't we?
Yes!
Yes.
We're doing the quiz.
So I have some questions for you guys. I've come up with as many questions as we're going to need. I think I've got 5. So, yeah.
At this stage in the year, Paul is on 31 points. I'm 1 point behind on 30 points. And Adam is languishing in last place with 24. We established that rules him out of winning the quiz this year, which is why he is taking over host duties for this episode.
Yes. So the points today are worth 10 points, so I can still win the quiz.
Oh, are
Each
they?
question's 10 points.
No, I'm joking.
No.
We have a little thing where at the end of every year, whoever wins the quiz normally gets to host the quiz for next year. But we're doing a little change up this year because someone never actually wins, and we won't say who that is. But we also get the rights to change ratings depending on where you place in the quiz. So if you get first place, you get to change some ratings of films we've done in the whole podcast from any year, and it's pretty exciting. We like doing that.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay, so are you guys ready for the first question?
Yes,
Let's
can you
do
give
it.
us some context for what these questions are about? Are they just
They're all
generally about
2022.
films or generally?
Yeah, just this year of film.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
The first question is, which film won Best Picture at the Oscars
Knew you were
this
going to
year?
fucking say that.
Fuck. Jesus.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, shit.
I'm going to say King Richard, but it wasn't.
Wait for Paul's answer.
What's it called? What's it fucking called? Oh man, I'm taking too long. Is it about? Oh wait, I almost got it. Coda.
It is Coda. Yes.
Yes.
Was it?
Yes!
People don't talk about it.
Yeah, I know they don't. I knew. I was thinking.
When I
It's
looked it up
about.
myself, I was a bit, oh fuck.
It's on Apple TV at the moment.
Yeah, this Apple TV film.
Dug that out of my memory.
Do you know
Do
what?
you remember what was won 2021 though?
Fuck, I can remember 21 because I was very happy with it and I've forgotten what it is. Is that an
Power of
actual
the Dog.
question?
No,
No,
this
it
is
wasn't
not a
Power of the
question.
Dog.
It's
It was
just
the
a
other
little.
thing. It was supposed to be Power of the Dog, but it wasn't.
But this
Oh
year
no, that was this
gonna be
year.
Power
That
of
was
the
this
Dog.
year. Power of the Dog. Yeah.
Best picture of 2021. Fucking terrible
This isn't a
memory.
question. It's just a bonus. There's probably people screaming at you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely there will be. The thing is, if you weren't asking this in a quiz setting, I'd be more
I
relaxed
know.
and
It's
I'd probably get it.
your mind kind of like blanks.
It's
Yeah,
got
it does.
Francis McDormand in it.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
Nomadland.
Nomadland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't even seen that yet. Both Best Picture
Bang-
winners for the last
bang
2 years I haven't
average.
seen.
Bang average film.
When
Okay.
I go on my Letterboxd watch list, it's one of the earliest entries in there, like the fourth early one. I've got hundreds of films that I've added since and watched since, but I just keep avoiding watching it because I just feel like
It's nothing. It's a bit of nothing. It's like fine. You're like, yeah, that was all right.
well, there we go.
Question number 2. What is the highest grossing film of 2022?
Oh, Avatar 2, Way of Water.
Correct.
Oh, is it
I
already?
asked, if I asked you this question when the quiz was meant to happen, it would be a different answer.
Top Gun.
It would have been Top Gun. And
Yeah,
then your
Top
number
Gun.
3 was?
What was a big blockbuster from this year?
Black Panther.
The Batman.
Nope. It was Jurassic World Domino.
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 What was it then?
Dominion.
I've only got the first 3 letters of it.
Dominion.
Dominion.
Domino.
That one
It just
sounds
says-
actually quite interesting, Domino.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, look at that. A point
Black,
each.
Black Panther was
Point
6th.
each.
Batman was 7th.
So Paul's on 32 and I'm on 31, and there's 3 points to play for.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
Paul gets this next one, I have to get the next 2 in order to tie it.
Yes. Quick question. Number
Yes.
3. Is this number 3?
Yeah.
What film received the most number of score votes on IMDb this year? This is a 2022 film.
Glass Onion.
Wrong.
Well, clearly wasn't that.
Which film received the most number of score votes this year?
Out of 2022 films, like the highest number of votes.
I'm going to say the Batman again.
You're correct then.
I imagine.
Oh, okay.
Glass Onion's like, I'm looking through this
Oh, shit,
list at
that's
the moment.
why.
It's like
That's fucking.
not even in the top 10.
Oh, really? I was just thinking everyone was fucking loving it.
So there's 2 questions left, and we're on joint points.
I've got a tiebreaker if it comes down to it.
Oh, lovely.
What film was the highest rated film on Letterboxd this year?
Parasite. Oh, you mean from 2022? Sorry.
Yeah,
I thought you meant of all time.
these are all 2022
The
questions.
highest rated from 2022. It's going to be something absolutely palatable to every cunt. So, a film that I probably didn't rate so highly. Oh no, actually, I'll tell you
I'm going
what.
to say the Batman.
I'm going
I
to say
don't
Top Gun, Maverick.
You're both wrong.
know. Okay.
It's Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Oh,
of course it
really?
is. Yeah.
Well, I was right, wasn't I?
Okay,
Oh, this
You know
is
what?
it.
Here we
then.
go. This is it.
the final question.
Hey, it's been a pleasure playing with you boys this year. It all comes down
Yes.
to one question.
Absolutely.
What film did Filmbusters rate the highest this year? This is a joint overall score.
There will be blood.
Correct, Paul?
Motherfucker! I couldn't get it out.
boy!
I couldn't get it out.
I couldn't even. I was like,
And there was I even stopped a little bit to explain the rest of the question.
I know. Well done. It's most deserving that you win because you were the one answering questions all year, so it makes most sense. Well done, Paul.
well, thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, he's the winner.
So, just so everyone knows, Adam's the quiz host next year.
Hey, I tell you what, they were good questions though, eh?
Yeah, I liked it.
I look forward to you
It's
hosting
easy
next
to do
year.
those ones, but
I look forward to you having to come up with questions next year. You're going to have to do some work now, boy.
What is the car that's driven?
Yeah,
You
every
love a
question
car
will be like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
What football
Cool.
match did they go and watch?
They didn't.
Trick question. So what does that mean in terms of how many films do you now get to change the ratings of this year?
So at the end of every year, we automatically get to change a rating from any film from any year.
So that's one each.
Automatically, one each. So the first place of the quiz, you get an extra 2, and then second place gets 1. So
Okay.
I get 3 changes.
And
for
I
this
get
year.
2, and Adam gets
Yes.
1.
Yes.
All right, very good. We don't do that now. We do that at the end, do we?
Yeah, we do that at the end. Yeah.
All right. Well, happy days. Well done. That was good fun.
That was good. Well done, Adam. I like those.
Yeah, good cues. Interesting stuff there.
Yeah. Right, so shall we move on to our first segment that we're going to be talking about, and that is the first time watches of 2022. So that's the first time we've watched any film from any year that has been a bit of a blind spot that we decided to watch this year.
Oh, certainly. So, shall we roll the dice to decide who goes first?
Okay,
Rather
yeah,
than
let's do that.
classic film busters, yes?
Yeah, let's do that.
Look at this. All right then, boys. Pick 2 numbers each. You're not on
Two-
camera, so
2
you just
and
have to
5.
trust me. 2 and 5. And Adam?
I'll have 3 and 4.
Right, I'm rolling the dice.
5,
There you go. You heard it from the
It's
lady.
me! It's me!
Paul first. And who will go second? Adam, odds or evens?
Evens.
3,
I'll go second and you'll go last.
Okay.
There we go.
Very good. There we go. Adam's going to fall asleep now for the next 20 minutes.
Right, so yes, we each take our turns. We're going to do our top 10s of our first time watch of 2022. My number 10. It has been a long time since I've watched this film, but I remember it being great. And this is Black Rain with Michael Douglas.
Epic.
It's fucking great, man. I
Yeah.
had a wonderful time of it, and just the whole setting, being in Japan, and I love the fucking chemistry between Michael Douglas and Andy Garcia. It's just a lovely little film, and I remember that great little karaoke scene,
yeah.
which is just great, and a really wonderful shocking moment that I think that kind of nailed it to the 8 when that happened.
Yeah.
You remember that bit? And it's just a nice little Ridley Scott blind spot, which I'm finally glad I saw. Like I don't think I even heard of it until I think the For Your Reconsideration podcast spoke about it, and then that's why I decided to watch it.
I never mentioned it to you before.
No, I don't think so. No, but yeah, so glad I watched that. Great little number.
I love it for so many reasons. It is like one of the unsung Ridley Scott films for sure. The soundtrack is incredible. The opening
Is that the one
song
where they go to Japan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
and the guy who plays the villain Sato, I think he was he kept it secret. He was dying of terminal cancer
I
at the
remember you telling
time,
me this. Yeah.
and he kept it secret from everyone on set. I think it's his last performance as well. And the sort of sickliness of what he must have been going through transfers really well into the villainous thing that he does. And the ending, the final scene, without spoiling, you know what I mean, Paul, the final
yeah.
scene at the airport
Yeah.
is, I think, one of the greatest endings of film of all time. Not just because,
Freeze frame,
it's
innit?
like it is a freeze frame, but it's also the way the music kicks in and swells
Yeah.
at the right time, the cheesy look, and also the connection between those two characters at that point.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is great. It is great. Ridley Scott.
It's Michael Douglas in it. It's the head of police, isn't it? That he's
Yeah, in the
Yeah.
Japanese police. Yeah,
yeah.
it is
Great.
very good. And Michael Douglas is particularly something, but Andy Garcia is great in it. It's all
And
good.
it's just a great little segment of just because they're transferring the villain, aren't they, to Japan?
Yeah.
because it's their jurisdiction, and the fact that this group of people come and take him away, and they think, oh, they must be the Japanese police, and it's
Yeah.
not even them.
I know, it's brilliant.
It's a great setup.
plane.
Yeah,
There's so much to love about that film.
yeah, for sure. Right, number 9, Punch Drunk Love. It was a massive blind spot. Been meaning to watch for so long. Paul Thomas Anderson. I was always a bit skeptical because of Adam Sandler. You know, I know he's done good stuff, but and especially when I first started watching it, I was like, oh shit, is it just going to be like Adam Sandler being Adam Sandler? But he does it in a way, it's like not over the top Adam Sandler. And I think that's why I liked it. He's still kind of playing that same kind of character, but it just kind of comes across as really like sweet and innocent and quirky. And it's a nice little love story. And it's just a great little film. And we really enjoyed it.
I really enjoy it as well. I think the only thing that I didn't like so much was the ending, when they depart from the setting that's been the majority of the film, and then it moves to somewhere else. But the way that he directs it as well is just incredible. Like, it feels like long fucking tracking shots.
Yeah. And there's this odd bit of surrealness about it as well.
There is, yeah, for sure.
Like the whole piano in the street.
Yeah.
It's a mini piano. It's not a piano, but don't know what it's called. But there's an oddness about it that kind of it doesn't take away from the film. It just kind of adds this nice little element to it.
Yeah.
And the whole pudding thing is great.
Yeah.
It's just a nice little film.
And Sandler is sweet. Sandler is sweet.
Yeah,
in
he's
it.
sweet. That's the difference. He's not overpowering his performance.
I remember when he's sort of crying in the house. It's like really sweet and vulnerable.
Yeah, that's it. He feels vulnerable in it. That is the difference. Where like if you're watching something like he could play that same kind of character but over the top in like Hubie Halloween or whatever it is. That's like, I have no fucking care for what you're doing right now. But
I got a lot of respect for Sandler and his grind, man. Even with those films which are crap and I won't watch, I respect that he's making bank. He's doing that. He knows. He knows their shit, and he's like, well, I make money off of these ones so that I can go off and do Uncut Gems, Punch Drunk Love, Hustle, what have you. I'm down for him to do that.
Though, but at the same time, it's like with his, if I don't win an Oscar, I'm going to make some crap films. I know it's probably a joke.
I feel, but that's just a level of awareness, isn't it?
Yeah. I know.
If you don't give me this Oscar, I'm making the worst films of all time.
But he also has made some great comedies. Wedding Singer's great. Big Daddy. Big Daddy's my favourite one of his comedies. I think that's great. That may be nostalgia.
Yeah.
I don't really like Happy Gilmore. That's too silly.
I haven't seen it in ages.
There's two types of Sandler comedies. One is where he just acts normal and it's a comedy. I normally like them ones. The ones where he twists his mouth. He seems to think that's a funny thing to do. To twist his mouth like that.
Oh, yeah.
And he does that in
Nicky.
half of his comedies. That's when it's like, okay, this is going to be a shit one.
Yeah.
I'm Adam Sandler talking like that now. Like, oh, stop it, Adam.
Stop it,
I do
Adam.
nothing.
I agree. Yeah. My number 8. This has probably been the furthest departure from how long ago I saw it. It was March. I watched it in March. This is Silver Linings Playbook. It's my number 8. I know you don't like this, do you, Ben?
I think I like it. I don't love it.
Yeah. I haven't been telling what the ratings are for these films. So far, they've all been 8s.
Right.
So the reason this really gelled with me is because my auntie is bipolar, so I felt it felt completely honest, just the portrayals of these characters, and I could totally see my auntie in these characters, and just how the shifts in pace and how things can be like a mile a minute, and the excitable energy it all has, and I just really enjoyed it for that. It just felt a little closer to home, and that's what I got most out of it. And I think there's a nice chemistry between Cooper and Lawrence, and I think it had a nice little ending as well, where it's got like a dance routine that kind of sums up the roller coaster ride that we kind of experienced throughout the film. And yeah, I enjoyed it. It was good.
I think the thing is that I think the film is probably better in another director's hands. I just don't know about that director, David O. Russell. Like, everything that he does, I'm always kind of like, yeah, it's okay, but I feel like your direction is what's spoiling this.
Right.
Everything. I don't think there's a single film by him that I'm like, oh yeah, that's banging. It's always like, that's good, and that's
How
it.
about The Fighter?
Yeah, exactly. Well, The Fight is another example. That's basic story, hard to get wrong, and it's kind of nothing.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even remember it. I just looked at his filmography, and that's the one that stood out as being like Oscar worthy.
Oh man, I didn't like it at all. I think I gave that quite low. The only thing that film had going for it was, oh, look at Christian Bale losing weight again. It was that gimmick.
Yeah.
Even Christian Bale's tired of that gimmick now. Even he doesn't do that shit anymore.
Absolutely.
But David O. Russell was like, yeah, do that thing you do with your body, and you can be in this film, and people will come see it. And they did.
They did. Did it win any Oscars? I can't remember.
I don't know. It shouldn't have done. American Hustle, I think, is the only one by David O. Russell that I actually like.
Do you want my number 7?
Yes.
Okay, my number 7. This is a film that you both didn't like, but I really liked it, and it was up for the Oscar this year. The Power of the Dog by Jane Campion. I got a lot out of this film. I just really enjoyed the journey. I like the kind of. I like looking at the dog in the hills that no one else saw, and I just like the. I liked. Benedict Cumberbatch's character, not that I liked him, but I could see the journey and the mindset of why he was the way he was in the film, and how he was trying to recreate, without any spoilers, recreate this kind of situation he'd been in with the son in the film, and I really enjoyed it, and it really worked for me, and I saw the dog in the hill with his jaws wide open, and that's what counts. It's got that artistic mindset that I saw the dog in the hills.
For listeners, there's a moment in the film where Benedict Cumberbatch is talking to the boy, and there's a shot of the hills, and he says something like, "Can you see the dog?" And like when we were watching it. When I was watching it, and I think when Adam was watching it, it was just like, we're just watching the scene play out. But then Paul said that there is a dog in the hills, and then I was looking for an actual dog.
You're looking for a little dog.
Yes.
It's a shadow, isn't it?
But then it's the shadow.
It's like the composition of how the hills are. It looks like he said it's the dog with his jaw wide open.
But what was the meaning of that then?
It's about back in those times. It's all about labor and like just doing your work, and it's not about having like a creative or artistic mind, and people frown upon you if you're that way inclined, just like they try and bully the little boy just because he wants to be I think he was trained to be a doctor, was he?
Something like that, yeah.
A doctor, yeah. So they frown upon you if you want to lean towards that kind of way in your life, and it was about him standing with him and being like, "Can you see that dog as well? Because I can see it." Where a normal person would not. They would just see a hill. Yeah. Kind of thing. That's what I took from it anyway.
I think the film was good. I didn't dislike it. I thought it was good.
It was okay.
Yeah.
But I just didn't think it offered anything particularly interesting. I thought all the performances were great.
Yeah.
It was too slow, though, for me. And it just didn't really say anything new, personally.
That's fair enough.
I like the ending.
I still gave it an 8. It wasn't no higher than an 8.
It feels like something that would work very well as a book. You know, certain films that are kind of like deep and slow moving and whatnot. I almost feel like you need to read that story, because when you read a book, it's in your head, you process it slowly, you go on the journey slowly, and you feel these things as you go along. Whereas in a film, when it's like that, unless it's got some particularly gripping moments along the way or something to really hook you, you know, I didn't really know what the hook of the film was until the final minute of the film, and then you've got to endure like 2 hours to get to that hook. Yeah. Anyway, the performances were good, I think.
It all depends on how much you're reading into it as well. If you're really into it, then you're kind of reading into everything. And I was, before even the big revelation came along, I was kind of already there, because I was kind of reading into the subtle kind of hints towards what they were trying to say with like hand gestures and stroking saddles and stuff like that.
Look at it. This is the first gay film Paul's liked in his life.
Shut up. I've got another one coming up, mate. Don't worry about it.
He's a changed man this year. He used to be massive homophobe. You all heard it,
Homophobe.
listeners. You all heard it, and the listeners have
And
written
you
in
hear it to be true.
and said it themselves. The listeners have written in to say it, so he's making up for how terribly homophobic
I actually didn't like
he
it
used
at
to be.
all, this film.
I know, he's having to cover his tracks. Huge homophobe. Terrible.
I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry. Do you want my number 6?
Well,
Yes.
This is where it's getting close to being a 9. It's still an 8 though, but it kind of derailed itself. This is
Power of the Dog is only an 8 for you.
yeah, it's only an 8.
Oh.
Yeah. This is number 6. It's Help with Stephen Graham and Jodie Comer.
I was gonna
Oh,
watch
this is
the
that
other day.
COVID one you mentioned.
it.
Yeah, Jodie Comer. It's the COVID one. Yeah, it's in a nursing home, and Jodie Comer comes along, and she's training to be a nurse, and Stephen Graham is a resident of this nursing home, and he has a bit of dementia, and he keeps forgetting that his mother's dead and where he is and why he's there. And we get to get familiar with the relationships between Jodie Comer and the residents, and then, yes, 2020, 2019, COVID kicks in, and we have to live through residents dying, residents getting sick, people being locked in the home, not being able to see their family, and it is heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking. A wonderful little film. It just loses itself a little by the end when it moves away from the situation of being locked in this nursing home and more towards the relationship between Jodie Comer and Stephen Graham. And I wasn't there for that.
No.
I was there for
COVID stories.
a COVID story, basically. And not that it's saying it wasn't a good relationship between them both. It was good, but it just wasn't. It just lost that kind of that 9. I was almost on a 9. It just lost it from that. But yeah, it's on Netflix if anyone wants to check it out. It's great.
I will give that a whirl at some point. Mainly for the
I
Stephen
do
Graham
mean
thing.
to watch it, but like you said, it's so depressing now. It's like
Yeah, it's
when
a hard
you
one. You got to
watch
be
it-
in a very. They've got to be in the mood for it, basically.
Yeah. Is Jodie Comer the one from Killing Eve?
Killing Eve. Yeah,
Couldn't get into that.
she's
watch
a
one
great
episode
actress. She's a really great actress. I can understand not getting into the Killing Eve, but what she even does in Killing Eve, the amount of different accents she puts on, like, and everything is believable.
In
Everything
Killing
she does.
Eve?
Yeah, in Killing Eve, because she basically she's a hitman, so she takes on different personas of different people from different places, and everything is perfect.
I watched that one
Which
episode
progress.
of it and I was like, "Meh, count me
Yeah.
out." But I also, that's probably not to do with her. I actively dislike Sandra Oh.
Oh, really?
If she's in something, that film is not going to get a good rating. I do not like her style at all.
Interesting. Well, I watched it. I watched it all, and I forgot. Just it's done. It's one of those things where it's like, oh, I've watched it all. It's done. I've watched the season finale. It's over, and it was. I enjoyed it while it lasted. My number 5. We're moving on to the 9s. This feels like it came out years ago, and you I think it was in your top picks last year, but I only got to watch it this year. The Father, Anthony Hopkins.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
to my list.
Two
Well,
films about dementia in a row.
Yeah.
It's just such a unique film. Just having Anthony Hopkins being in his headspace and the film being edited as if you are experiencing what he's experienced along with him.
That's the
Just
magic trick of it, isn't it?
Yeah, being disorientated with what you're watching. Are you actually watching this, or is this his version of events? And it is wonderful, and shedding tears at the end, of course. I know you're a bit.
Yes.
You're a bit. You're not sure about the ending, right, Ben?
The ending is the one thing that really just it stopped it from being perfect because it felt it felt very dishonest to me. I've spoken before about my granddad and experiencing living through all of that. It it didn't feel genuine. It didn't feel honest. It felt false and forced, and it felt like a particular emotional manipulation to try and get people to cry because at no point, I'm not saying just because my granddad didn't cry, nobody cries, but at no point was my granddad consumed by the Alzheimer's, consumed by the dementia himself. It's everyone else. It consumes everyone else emotionally. The person at the heart of it doesn't really have that. Yes, they have moments when they become childlike, but the way the film positioned it, it felt like it was saying he's so beaten down, so terrified by what he's going through that he's reduced to this child, and he's got the kindness of strangers to take care of him in the latter stages. There's an element of truth to that, but I didn't buy it. It took me out of the film right at the moment where you should have grabbed me the closest. You took me out of the film, but it was still fucking incredible.
That's how it is with a film, isn't it? You enjoy something through your own experiences, basically, and that was your experience with it, and you're going to always compare it to your own experiences. And when my mum watched it, she was like, that end scene was exactly how my great nan was. Well,
there you go. What
so
can I
it's
say?
like, so you're always going to compare it to your own experiences. But yeah, wonderful. Number 4.
Yeah.
I've spoken about it. I feel like I spoke about it so much. It's Pride.
Oh, yes.
I can't remember if I've actually spoken it on the main podcast, but I spoke about it a lot on the Patreon. It is, if anyone doesn't know, it is about back when all the mines were closing, when Thatcher was closing mines, and there was a group of gay and lesbian protesters who wanted to put their support behind something, and they decided to do it for the mines being closed. So they created something called Gay and Lesbian Support the Miners, and they picked they just brought a map up, put their finger on a map and said, this is the one we're going to support, and it was in Wales. So they showed up at this little community centre with all the miners having their beers and everything, just walking in. Then it's like, who are these people? Like all these miners just like in this small little town, just unaware of people like this existing in the world. And it's just a lovely little journey, and it's a true story, and it's another one I cried at the end. It's just a wonderful little story, just to be like, wow, there's actually some lovely things that can actually happen in this world, and this is one of them. That's
2 points to Paul for the homosexual community. He's making up for lost time, listeners. He heard your complaints, and he's making up for lost time.
Anything else in the list that can be added to those points?
Yeah.
I think there's potentially 2 more films.
Yeah.
You want my number 3, or do you want to say anything about Pride?
I've got. It's on the watch list.
Yeah.
Okay. My number 3. This is. I don't want to say much about this. This is Brian De Palma's Dressed to Kill. It is. I can't. It's strange that I like this so much. It's partly the cinematography, just the way the story plays out. Especially like the first 20 minutes, I thought were just fucking wonderful, and I don't want to even say anything about it. It's one of those ones you definitely want to go in background blind.
About it good enough as well.
Yeah, you want to go into background blind.
I can't remember 100%. if you brought it up on the Patreon.
It was.
It must have been on the Patreon, yeah. But the thing is, like I said to you before, I think
you know what it's
I know what the deal is just through cultural osmosis, not because I've heard it, but through images.
Because you're just a really smart guy.
No, it's not about being smart, Adam. If you went and looked at the poster, I think that tells you not everything. I think that spoils it.
Can I do that?
Like, in the way that someone who hasn't seen. Well, no, I'm not going to say the film because the minute I say the film,
I don't think the post will ruin it for anyone.
You don't.
One of the.
Is that a man's legs?
I'm going to message Paul here, listeners. I'm going to message Paul in WhatsApp.
You're probably going to be right with what you're saying, but I'm just looking into the poster to see if there's anything revealed from that poster. But you're saying that because of your experience with an Eddie Izzard
Oh, well, there you go.
comedy set.
He's done spoiler. Paul did the spoiler, not me.
No, but that's what you said last year.
I know. But now
I mean,
if
not
you
last
can't
year,
work
last
it out
time.
from that, the message that I sent to you, Paul, is that true?
Do you want me to reveal that to you?
Well, you don't have to, but that's what I believe is the situation, having not seen the film.
Okay, interesting. Either way, I think it's something that you should go into absolutely blind, and it also has the sexual desires of a late 40s woman being represented in it, and I think that's pretty cool because I have never seen that much in film. It's normally a younger, very young-looking woman who men are going to find very attractive, and her sexual appetite. Never a late 40s woman. So I thought that was a good little thing.
That's surprising coming from De Palma because normally he portrays women as sexual objects and in a bit of a male gazy way.
Well, you probably could say it in that way, but for this late 40-year-old woman. But it was just refreshing in the
So
sense
instead of
that
just doing it over 20-year-olds, he's doing it over 40-year-olds now as well. Well done, De Palma.
potentially, yeah. I found it refreshing just for the fact that it's all about the fact that she is not being appreciated by her husband. So it's her sexual appetite, not her husband wanting to sleep with her. I enjoyed seeing that because it's not something you always see.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Absolutely, yeah. You should show women's sexual appetite as much as men's.
Yeah.
I'm not.
It's not saying that she's having loads of sex, and you don't even see anything like that.
Oh well, I'm definitely not watching it then. I'm only watching it if you see her doing it.
Apart from the initial scene when the film opens. But
You're
I don't
only
know.
supposed to blow your bloody lips off. The downstairs lips.
Downstairs lips.
Jesus, take a little bit of a turn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway.
well, that's your favourite film, Adam.
One of my favourite films.
Masturbating away when he says that line.
No, he loves it, mate. I'm not sure
Like
if
the Crystal
everyone will love
Palace.
that film, but it's very controversial, especially nowadays, on what it's portraying. But I got a kick out of it, and that's a 9. I gave that a 9.
Well, look at that.
Let's move on to my number 2. This is another 9. This is Lords of Chaos, another one I've spoke loads about the Norwegian black metal, and true story about the murders that happened and the satanic stuff that used to happen in Norway. And
Yes.
it is hard to watch in places, very hard to watch, very brutal stuff. But it's also just opened my eyes to this thing I knew nothing about, and it's murder, this horrible murders that took place. It's just a really great film. I really liked it. I watched it immediately after, a couple of days after I watched it the first time, because I just wanted to watch it again, and I very much recommend it.
Such hard watch, and you watched it twice in a week.
You know I like a brutal watch, mate. I like a brutal watch.
It's almost like a documentary in a way because of how
Yeah.
it introduces you to that whole subculture of music that you wouldn't. Well, I
Absolutely.
had never heard of before.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very good. Very disturbing. Reminded me a lot of that toxic relationship
I was going to say the same.
that I had with that guy, to the point that Jenny came in and watched the end of the movie, said that seems like you and that person.
Yeah. I felt the same. I got the same kind of feeling from because we used to have a mate as well who was a bit of a wild card, and it got to a point where we just didn't see him anymore because he was so drugged up all the time, and I looked him up the other day. I found him on Facebook with his brothers, and I was like, oh, he's still alive.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a great watch. Great watch.
It's good.
You want my number one film? My
Number
number
one of
one
the
first
year.
time watch 2022. This is goes without saying. I was also another late one that was both in your list last year. This is Titan. 10 out of 10.
Oh, okay, yeah, perfect.
10 out of fucking 10. Yeah.
Yes.
I think we've spoke about this film so much. I don't know, and everyone's probably seen it multiple times by now. If you haven't, then you should. It is so great to read into, and once you unlock it, it just unlocks. It's like watching a film anew. once you kind of get the gist of what the whole film's about, I think. And it's just such a joy to watch with that lens.
I really need to rewatch it. It's
Yeah, you should. And if you haven't seen it, you should go watch it. And just go in without knowing anything, I think.
Yeah.
It's probably the best
I don't think
way.
you can really know anything about the film as well. Like,
It's hard to say anything about it without ruining any
You
plot
could
point.
come out of that film not knowing anything about it as well.
yeah,
Yeah, it's great. It feels like true 21st century cinema.
Yeah,
That film would never have been made before the turn of the century, and that's something that we, as a society and filmmakers, can be proud of, that we can make films like that now, because that couldn't have happened before.
not
Never
just a
would have
CGI
happened.
flick.
Yeah. The whole aesthetic of it is fucking beautiful, man. All the
Absolutely.
way through. All the way through. Like you could pause that. I'm sure every shot would just be stunning to look at.
hell yeah. I love it.
But yeah, some deep stuff. Deep stuff. One of the few films that I can remember that challenged my mental state. We always say films and stories are there to sort of like make you think about things a different way or whatnot. How often does that actually really happen to you personally? How often does it change the way you think or feel about something?
Yeah,
Not many times.
not many. Yeah, lovely.
That fucking song. That song.
So good. Always listen to it still.
No, I love it.
Right, before we actually move on to your top 10, Ben, should we hear from a patron?
Oh, who are we going to hear from?
Let's hear from Julio. This is his first time watch, his favourite first time watch of 2022.
Okay, Film Busters. Here's Julio from the Contrarians with my best blind spot watch. Is that what we're calling it for 2022? Just that movie. The best movie I watched that was not made in 2022, but I watched it in 2022. And that is, and I'm not just saying this because it's your show, but that would be 2018's Wildlife, a movie that we all watched and then discussed together in a Film Busters episode. It's... I looked through all the stuff that I've watched on Letterboxd, and this one stood out. I think I'm conflating, obviously, the movie, which is great, and also the conversation that followed, which was also great, and it made me appreciate the movie even more. But it's just a powerful, very quiet, very subtle movie that's full of emotional moments, and it has a devastating ending. It was easy to just, once I saw it, I'm like, yeah, this is the one. Sorry, Wake and Fright. Wildlife takes the top spot as far as my blind spots.
Well, look at that.
Well, I wonder if that's going to appear in either of your lists.
Well, if it does, it does. But I tell you, there is something to be said about what Julio said there, about when we have a conversation, when we podcast about a film, it makes me think deeper for the most part than any of the other films I watch in the year. And for that reason, often it means me enjoying a film more than some of the others.
Yeah.
For sure.
Like for example, if we hadn't all recently watched There Will Be Blood, it would have been in our minds knowing what we thought about it and how we felt about it. But then having that lengthy, full-on discussion about it and picking over it amplified it more so than ever.
Absolutely. It's made that film for me, having that conversation about it.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Let's see if Wildlife pops up on any of our lists. Shall I do mine now?
Go on then.
Yeah, here I come. Number 10. We've already talked about it because it's a podcast episode we did, and it is Sonatine, and I'm delighted that it made my first time watches of the year list still, because I remember watching it and thinking this has got something special about it. I know you two were not very keen on the film. For those who don't know or haven't heard the episode, I think the guy's name is Takashi Beat, or Beat Takashi, and he was mainly known for comedy in Japan. And then he made this trilogy of films, which is essentially about the Yakuza, a guy in the Yakuza at different stages of life. And Sonatine is this sort of surreal film that puts the Yakuza, after like this attack, into a beach location setting to hide out. And it's not a outright comedy, but it has this off-kilter comedic aspect to it, which is actually quite deep and profound, I think, mixed with the subject matter. And I really enjoyed it, and I still think about it now.
I
So
don't really
it's-
remember. I just remember the beach bits.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't the biggest fan.
You boys are very tough on it. Yeah, you boys are tough on it.
Me especially.
Yeah, you were particularly. You had no time for it, but that's the way it is. Sonatine, that was my number 10.
Lovely.
Number 9 is Bong Joon-ho's Memories of Murder. I think you both have seen it.
A long time ago.
haven't,
I saw it when I was learning film.
Really great. This like Sonatine, it's an 8 as well. A true story, which I didn't realize until the credits had rolled, but it's about a hunt for a serial killer in Korea. What I think to date the most infamous serial killer that Korea's ever had, and it follows the detectives, the local detectives, and an out of town detective, and their different methods for trying to find the killer. But it kind of twists everything you would expect from a typical detective movie. Like, you think in a traditional film certain clues and leads would lead a certain way, and to certain red herrings and to certain definite endings, and none of that actually happens. It all ends up getting twisted in the mix. It's a little bit funny as well. It's very compelling all the way through. I was like, I don't know which way this is going to turn. I don't know if they're going to catch him. I don't know if they're going to end up dead by him. I don't know if they're going to kill him. I don't know if he's going to kill more people. And it's rare that a film makes you feel that way. You know, I'm always talking about stakes. This always felt like the stakes were there the whole time. And finding out it was a true story just made it all the more disturbing. And, oh man, I'd love to say something. Is it a spoiler? I don't think it's a spoiler. I don't think it's oh no, fuck it. I can't say it. But basically, something to do with the killer in the real world, the serial killer in the real world, connected to this film after the film's release. Go and Google that. Is very interesting.
If you want to be spoiled, basically.
If you want to be spoiled.
Yeah, I watched the film first.
I need to watch it again, 100%. I keep meaning to.
Yeah, it was great. Memories of Murder. And number 8, and not for the last time on this list, is the Beatles, A Hard Day's Night.
Oh,
You told me off last year.
What do you mean I told you off?
You said it wasn't. You said it wasn't. It was a documentary. It shouldn't be on here. Documentary series, not a film.
No one said documentaries can't be
I
included.
would never have said that. I've included documentaries.
Documentary series.
Right, first of all, this is not a documentary. This is A Hard Day's Night, Adam. This is 1964's Hard Day's Night.
Sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
Calm yourself, son.
Yeah.
So this is the first film that the Beatles made, where they essentially are playing themselves, and it's like 48 hours before they do a gig, and it's just joyous because it's packed with songs. It's packed with this sort of like off-kilter 60s energy where just nonsensical things are happening. It's like Steptoe and Son meets
that the one with
fucking
the
With No
granddad,
and I with the granddads. Yeah, you keep hearing about Paul's granddad.
Granddad, yeah.
And I watched this pretty soon after watching the Get Back Peter Jackson documentary, so it made me want to seek out some more Beatles stuff. And it feels so fucking experimental for the 60s, which was an experimental time anyway. This was
It was like they just wanted to
completely
make a Beatles
improvised.
film and they didn't know what to do. And they were just like, let's
Yeah.
just go out and film them.
Let's go out and film them, and let's just it's like what me and Paul do, these Sharks at a Wedding sketches. It's like they went out and just did a bunch of these and then put them all together and called it a film and bridged it all by adding in their music. And it was funny, and the musical numbers in between are great to connect it.
Yeah.
And it is feel good. I love it. This year made me appreciate the Beatles so much more. And the cool thing was that I found out that the scene where Ringo goes to a pub, which is like halfway through the film, was filmed at my uncle's pub. And when I was there recently for the football, I went to the actual area where it is, and they've got all the stills and shots and stuff from the scene. And because my uncle lives above the pub, he said that there is, when they were filming A Hard Day's Night, when they wrapped that day, they went upstairs where there was another bar at the time to like have a drink to celebrate wrapping on that day. And that means where my uncle now lives, all the Beatles were in Once Upon a Time.
Amazing.
Cool. Did he get to meet them? Was he not there at the time?
I don't even think he was born at the time. No, he would have been
64,
born.
so-
He would have been like 6 or 7, and he certainly wasn't living there. Anyway, Hard Day's Night, really, really fun, and
It is a
I
film that only
watched
they
it.
could make as well. It's like you need their
Yeah.
their charisma in it to make it.
Yeah, it definitely needed their charisma. And I watched it back to back. As soon as it finished, I watched it again.
Oh,
It was great.
Cool.
Very good. Number 7, to bring another COVID film into the mix. This is a documentary, Netflix documentary, which I only watched because I heard Michael Kiwanuka had a song on it, so I just wanted to hear the song, and then I stuck around for the whole documentary. It's called Convergence, Courage in Crisis. And if you're not sick of hearing or watching or learning or reading about COVID, I highly recommend you watch it, particularly now when it kind of feels like we're living with it, because of how horrendous it is. It's basically filmed across 7 countries, 7 continents, well, 6 continents, 7 countries, and it's from the outbreak, when it worldwide went outbreak, February, March, and then it runs for a period of like 6 months. So when it was really devastating and killing a lot of people.
the guy who did Evelyn as well.
Yeah, it is. It's the guy who did it, Evelyn. Yeah, which
he
also
did the one about
featured
the
as my
gorillas.
number 1 film a few
Yeah,
Years ago.
yeah.
but it's not. He's not the one with the camera there most of the time. It's people, because it was obviously everyone is in lockdown. Everyone is filming their own stuff. So you've got cleaners in hospitals, doctors in hospitals, people bound to their apartments, kids separated from their parents, all filming it. And it was just fucking horrendous. Just horrendous. Like, I was in tears for most of it. It was so emotional. I could barely move when I was watching it. I was watching it with Jenny, and I'm like, if I move, I'm just going to fucking sob my heart out because this is horrible. So, and it is a fucking universal sadness that we would be idiotic to forget that we went through very, very recently.
Yeah.
And that so many people died, and that so many people lost loved ones. I will never fucking forget what that was like.
Yeah.
We learned so much about ourselves as a human race during that I don't think we will. I don't think we as a human race will recover from the damage that it did to us. I really don't. We
It's
haven't.
such a universal thing.
It was a
to everyone.
universal thing, and it should have united us, but it fucking divided us more than ever, I think.
Yeah.
And it was horrible, and it is a horrible watch. But then I guess, why would I recommend it? It's more to never forget. It's like the reason why you watch a documentary on World War II. You don't watch it to learn how you avoid things in the future, because there's no learnings from this documentary in terms of this is how we can stop it in the future. It's more about this is how humanity reacted. Check it out.
Yeah.
Horrible, but wonderful
Nice.
at the same time. Number 6, I won't talk about much because we did an episode on that. It is Wildlife. Julio brought
yeah.
it to the podcast. Number 9, enjoyed it very much.
Got quite a few the films, haven't you, from the podcast?
I think that's the last one. Yeah, nothing more to say on it. I don't know if you boys have anything to add.
No, you guys liked it more than me.
No.
Yeah. It's a nice little film.
Very
Cool
good.
dynamic.
Great ending. Number 5. We're up to the 9s now, by the way, ever since the
Okay.
COVID
Oh, yeah.
documentary in the 9s. Number 5. The Story of Film, A New Generation. I mentioned this on a Patreon a month or so ago. Highly recommended again. I think you can get this on either iPlayer or Netflix. It's a documentary about how film has changed in the 21st century, how what films are about have changed. I think even Titan is referenced in it, but it works.
Really?
I think so. If nothing else, it works to give you loads of films to add to your letterboxd that you would never have thought of or considered before. And the guy who narrates it speaks very eloquently about why these films are particularly relevant now and couldn't have been made before, and how the things that audiences are looking for now are reflected in the films that he's chosen. And you see like clips from each of them, and it's very enticing, and it's a very nice love letter to film, I would say. Adam, are you all right? You're making all sorts of noises over there.
I just stretched.
All right. Number 4, this has been a big blind spot for a long while. David Lynch's favourite film, and I can totally see why. It's 1950s Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah.
Great film about
Great film.
Hollywood movie making at that time. It's like a noir. It's almost like a horror film at times. And the character of, I'm not sure of the actress's name now, who plays the lead, but she's presented in
I'm
this.
thinking Norma Desmond.
That
Is that her name
sounds
in the
right.
film?
Let's go with it. And if it's not right, someone could correct us. But let's say it's Norma Desmond.
I'm going to look it up now.
It's just a great insight into how people's stars burn brightly.
God, I got it right!
Well done.
That is fucking knowledge.
Well done. Yeah, it's a good insight into how people have these fleeting moments where they're top of the world and then it goes, they get chewed up, spat out, forgotten about. What becomes of them? It becomes more relevant as time goes on, because I think nowadays, more so than even when this film came out, in 1950s, star power, stars stuck around for a lot longer. Stars got older now, and they were still being cast. Nowadays, we are a throwaway society.
Absolutely.
More so with people now. People who are hot, it takes 2 years, people are already bored.
Whatever's
the things
trending,
that people
mate.
loved. Exactly. So it becomes even more pertinent to watch it now. It's very haunting, very well.
She's
very
so
well
good
made.
in it.
She is
One of the
incredible
good
in
films where Hollywood makes a film about Hollywood.
it. Yeah. I Am Big. It's the pictures that got smaller. That's great. Fucking great. It's all also good. Really well directed. Billy Wilder. Amazing. Loved it very much. And then another blind spot, cinematic blind spot for a long, long time, which I had held off on and was sure it was because I was just going to go, yeah, it was good. But actually it was very fucking good, is Spielberg's Schindler's List. From 93.
We watched it exactly the same time.
Yeah, that's weird. We did, didn't we? We didn't even talk about it.
No.
What was the
Nuts.
chances of that?
I know, of all films. And it's a long film as well. It's not like a little short one you can just throw on.
Yeah, I know, man. What the
Weird.
fuck? And it was in like the middle of the summertime as well. So
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
not even like any relevant discussion was taking place around it at the time that would have led us there. But I mean, yeah, it was incredible. Very sad. It's basically as epic as Saving Private Ryan is. It's that sort of epicness applied to the Holocaust specifically, and everyone that was involved in it, and what Schindler did to try and help those people out. The best thing to note about this is before you go into it, you go, okay, Steven Spielberg, who is Jewish, making a film about the Holocaust, you know exactly how it's going to go. What I totally was not expecting was that Schindler was going to be a German. And
He's
the
a
fact
Nazi.
that he's a Nazi. And that Spielberg chooses to focus on the Nazi as the savior. You know, that's like, I mean, that's fucking big time, man. That is what's most revealing. That is some real humble, beautiful, like, not selfish ain't the word, but there's no resentment there. There's no like, no, this is our story. We're not going to focus on the guy outside of our community who helped us. We're going to focus on how we did it from within. There is that, of course, but to focus on this Nazi from the outside, that's progressive, and it makes me think that he, in modern world, I don't know this, I might be putting word, but it makes me think that he would not be a fan of what Israel is doing in the world at the moment. He would not be a Zionist.
It's also got a great layered performance from Liam Neeson as well. Like he's not just all out a good guy trying to save everyone. He has his moments of, should I even be doing this? Should I do it? Kind of thing. It's not just straight down the line, I'm trying to save people.
No, you're right. It's the best thing he's ever done, for sure, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's the only time I've ever seen him act, I think. Number 2, and this was, I feel like I watched this way back at the beginning of the year, but it's really stuck with me, is The Last Black Man in San Francisco.
Yeah.
beautiful piece of cinema. Again, lots of films on the list this time around are very aesthetically pleasing, but the story is incredible as well. Very unique, very small, intimate story that essentially becomes big. For those who don't know, it's a young black guy living in San Francisco who sees this house in the town, or knows of this house in the town that his grandfather built, that is now sort of populated by white people, very well-to-do white people, and he wants to make sure that it's always looked after and whatnot. It's kind of like his link to the town, and it sort of channels his way of processing his place in a town like San Francisco, which has become more gentrified than ever. But there's some twists and turns in the tale. It feels like a very, very personal story, but still feels very universal. Directed very well. And the director was a white guy, which surprises me when a story feels like this personal. But apparently he's, the guy who is the lead actor in it is the actual person from real life that this is based on.
Yeah.
Jimmy Fails. So if he is happy for a white guy to direct his story, then who are we to say otherwise?
Yeah, who we'd say? Yeah.
If it wasn't based on a true story, if this was fiction, then I would feel a certain way about it, because I don't think that white people should be directing black stories, personal black stories like that.
Yeah. Especially if you're writing it.
Yeah.
Was that a 9?
That's a 9. And then the only film on this list, which is a 10, which was the first thing that I watched this year, and Adam will pick me up on it because I'd forgotten that I said to him, you can't include it, but you absolutely can fucking include it, because if this ain't cinema, I don't know what is. It's probably, in fact, not probably, it's definitely the best thing that I've watched all year, regardless of 2022 new releases. It's the best thing that I've watched all year, and it was the first fucking thing I watched. It's the Beatles Get Back, Peter Jackson documentary. 10 hours of just seeing behind the scenes recording studio sessions. It just feels so intimate and inspirational. It just makes it feel like fucking anything's possible if you just chill out, take a load off, and get together with like-minded
Do
people.
loads of drugs.
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't doing actually drugs at the time, was he? They come back from doing drugs.
Well, there's some drugs, because there's a shot of Lennon pulling out some heroin, and then he quickly realizes the camera's on, and he shoves it back in his pocket.
Fuck, man.
He comes in and he tells
Heroin.
him, like, he says, "What did you do last night?" And he goes, "Oh, we did like mushrooms and LSD and all that kind of shit, didn't he?" Like, 'cause it was a casual Wednesday night.
Yeah. I mean, it's great. It feels like a lounge session. It feels like you're with friends, and that's hard. That's hard to do, and because it's so far back, to make it look so pristine and like it had just been filmed yesterday is just
I think
incredible.
you also love how it just is kind of unedited as well in some ways. It's like the camera's just fixed.
Yes.
What they need to do, and you're just watching them be in one room for an hour.
Yeah.
Almost of like, yeah.
And it's like you could, if you heard it on paper, you think, oh, that sounds boring as fuck. Who wants to just listen to people chatting and fucking around for 10 hours? But that's what's so compelling. It's like you're in the room with them. It's like suddenly you're in their inner circle.
Yeah.
And you're catching glimpses of conversation. Oh, what's that about? Are they talking about him? Who are they talking about? And then when Yoko's there and you're like, is she a bad influence?
Yeah.
Or is she good? Do they like her? Do they not?
I'm just annoyed I didn't get to see the rooftop bit in IMAX.
Oh, that is very special. That whole build up. I mean, it's incredible. Just amazing piece of work.
Still need to
Perfection.
watch it.
I
It's
need to
amazing.
watch it one day.
And it comes down to that whole thing that David Lynch says when you're coming up for ideas. If you want to do anything meaningful in life, you don't just pitch up and spend 20 minutes doing it and then go. You have to spend like 5 hours, and the first 2 hours are nothing, the last 2 hours are nothing, but the middle hour, there's the gold. That's how you catch the fish. And he calls it catching the big fish, which is like you go fishing, you throw that hook in, and you wait and you wait and you wait, and you'll pick up some small fish, you throw them back, finally you'll get the big fish. And then when you've got it, you'll think, oh, I'll stick around, I might get more, but you don't. and then you pack up and you go home. And that's what it's like. It's about. It's almost like meditation, inspiration, ideas.
Yeah.
Harder to do in this modern world. Anyway,
Sounds good. I really need to see it. You two have raved about it.
Yeah.
it's amazing
I
stuff.
feel like you don't even have to like the Beatles to like it as well. It's just like you're liking. It's like as long as you like music, I think, and you like the process of you're interested in the process of making music.
Yeah.
That's it.
It made me have so much more respect for Paul McCartney than I ever had before. I honestly thought that Lennon was the genius behind the Beatles, and then I watched this and I'm like, absolutely not the case. It was Paul McCartney who, regardless of what you may think about the man, Paul McCartney was the professional. Paul McCartney knew
He's the one
what
who
they were
stuck there to
doing.
the end.
He
They'd all
stuck
given
with
up
it.
by that point, hadn't they?
They had, and he was focused. He was the brilliant singer-songwriter. He understood music in a way that the others didn't in many ways.
Here's that clip of him writing "Get Back." And it just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah,
That's
it's great. And it's nice to see a few like bits of friction. Anyway, go and see it, people.
Go watch it.
Well, Adam, hold your horses, sir, because before we
Yes.
get to your top 10 first-time watches, let's hear what Katie and Oti thought was their best first-time watch of 2022.
let's go for it.
Roll that clip.
It's another week in the OT.
Oh.
I think we made it into the Filmbusters Matrix. Thank you so much, our beloved friends and lovers, for having us here. We are going to share some of our favorite films of the year.
Oh.
Yeah, do you want to kick it off, OT? We are talking about our first time watch films of 2022.
First time watch has to go to Jackie Brown. I think while we're doing our degustation covering Quentin Tarantino, I got really anxious because I just hated a lot of it until I got to Jackie Brown, and it was just magnificent on how it was portrayed. I think it's one of the best things I've watched this year.
It's also the simp anthem for all of the simps around the world, right, OT?
Yeah, then again, all I had to say was Pam Grier, and everyone would agree.
Oh, yes, a top-heavy degustation if you're nasty.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of our Tarantino run, I also have one cherry-picked from our Tarantino watching, and it is Inglourious Bastards.
Oh.
Christoph Waltz.
Buongiorno.
Is there really anything else to say?
No.
These two films also coincidentally is proof that Tarantino, when he wants to, does have the range to have a compelling story.
Oh, 100%.
You want to throw some comments on that?
Yeah, Jackie Brown is definitely a little sleeper hit that everyone always forgets when they think about Tarantino, but it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the sort
It's
of
just when
forgotten
it
film.
comes sandwiched between those films, though, doesn't it? It's just like out of his run from Pulp Fiction and shit, and then he came out with.
I mean, it's better than Pulp Fiction, hands down.
It has more rewatch. I think it ages better. I think Pulp Fiction.
I think Pulp Fiction's still better.
But it's one of those films that you've seen so many. Like it's for no fault of its own. It's almost too good. It's almost too big for its own good.
What, Jackie Brown or Pulp Fiction?
No, Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. But Jackie Brown, the thing about that I like is that there's a story that I care about, whereas Pulp Fiction is just a play of parts. It feels like it's just too showy for me. I never really dug it.
Yeah, I get that.
But Jackie Brown has great performances across the board.
Yeah, definitely.
And
But
I
Inglourious, it's my favorite. It's my favorite Tarantino. Oh no, it's not.
about to say,
I always forget Reservoir Dogs is my favorite. I always forget it's my it's my number 2 film of all time. But it's my. If we're discounting Reservoir Dogs, it's my favorite Tarantino.
yeah, I mean, Inglourious has probably the best opening to any film ever.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That scene with Christoph Waltz is just impeccable. But there's a lot along the way which I don't like about Inglourious.
Yeah, you've said that. Yeah.
I really don't like Eli Roth in it. I don't like the Brad Pitt character. Anything with Christoph Waltz works for me. Anything with Fassbender in that
I don't like
basement
it.
works.
It's just we said this before, but that Christopher Waltz is so good in it that he overshadows everybody else. And when you're watching someone else that's not him, you're just waiting for him to come back on the stage. Not that they're bad; it's just he was too good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get that.
And I think Tarantino thinks very, very well. He does. There's no think. He thinks very highly of himself, and
Of
it
course.
comes across too much in that film. I think.
He loves changing history.
Yeah, he loves changing history. If you want to change history, by all means, do it. But it's just a film, Quentin. You haven't actually done it, so wind your neck in, son.
Yeah, it only doesn't really work for me in Sharon Tate.
Yeah, you didn't really save Sharon Tate. You didn't really kill Hitler. You're just a rather annoying person. Who I admire you being a film geek, but you are an annoying person. Well, thank you, Katie Noty.
Thank you. Go on, Adam. It's your time to shine.
Let's go for it. Okay. So number 10 on my list is a documentary. It's a documentary by Edgar Wright, and it's about the Sparks Brothers. I think I mentioned this to you before.
Oh, yeah. Remember that, yeah.
I didn't know anything about them, really. I know one or two of their songs, but I didn't really know anything of that. And Edgar's a massive fan of them, and he interviews people who are massive fans of them, and it's a very, very good informative documentary about them, and I have a lot more respect for them now than I did beforehand.
There's rumours that they're going to be in Glastonbury.
Yeah. I think they always turn. They just don't stop. I think they've released nearly 45 albums across their life, so
Wow.
I think they're one of the most prolific groups of all times. But and it was just how big and actually how influential they are, kind of thing. It's like they're your band's favourite band, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Those people that you don't know, but they're so well regarded.
You can always rely on Adam to bring up a music documentary at some point
Yeah, he
in an
loves
end
it.
of
I
year.
didn't put it at number 1, so that's my only
no.
music documentary on here.
Fair enough.
Oh,
Number 9 is a film. It's an Italian film called The Hand of God, and it's about a young lad growing up in Naples, and Maradona signs. Yep, and Maradona signs for Napoli at the time, while he's also going through some very formative years, and he's trying to become a filmmaker at the same time. Which, it's a lovely.
Did you say this is a documentary?
No, it's a film.
Oh, right, okay.
Number 8 is a film that I've been meaning to watch for ages because I've only seen one other film by that director, and that's Nocturnal Animals, and I fucking love that film.
What?
And
Oh, right,
this
sorry.
film
I thought you were
is-
saying Nocturnal Animals was the
No,
film.
no. I'm about to say the film Single Man is a film that I've been meaning to watch by Tom Ford
yes,
for
yeah.
Ah, yes.
forever. And it's
What are you rating
again,
this?
These are all 8s.
Oh, okay,
They're all 8s up until number 4, and they're 9s.
cool.
Again, it's like you can see the elements of what he's trying to do. Everything's very swash and very suave, but it just doesn't have that sucker punch that Nocturnal Animals does to be.
No, it doesn't, does it? It is good. It is a good
It's
film.
But it's a different film, though. It doesn't need that sucker punch as well at the same time.
No.
The sucker punch comes later, it sticks with you rather than
Yeah.
in the actual film.
But the two films kind of deal with the same sort of thing of like something deeply traumatic happening to
Everything's
someone.
been taken away from you.
Yeah, and how you
You've
deal with
suddenly
that.
lost your anchor in life. What's happening? Number 7.
His cologne is lovely, by the way. I have his cologne.
yeah.
I fucking
It's all
love
very
it.
expensive stuff.
Yeah, it's expensive, but worth it, man. Because that's what he was. I didn't realise that he was this. He was a fashion designer originally. Then he got into cologne.
yeah,
then he
yeah.
got into films.
Yeah, I think I only known him as a fashion designer, not as a. And
I don't think I ever knew him as a fashion man. I never knew him. Never heard of him before.
Okay. Number 7 is a film, again, I've been meaning to watch that Ben has been banging on about for years and years. And it's Bloody Nose Empty Pockets.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that. Man,
Yeah.
I feel like every single year we've talked about that for the last 3 years now.
I know.
Still getting
The lot.
props.
Bet, Paul, have you watched it yet, Paul?
I haven't seen it yet, no.
You're going to watch
Oh.
it next year, and you're going to just be like,
Shout out to Michael Martin, man. R.I.P.
R.I.P., mate.
yes. I think, we've spoken about that film so much over the years, but it's a pub in Vegas. Is it Vegas it is?
Yeah, Vegas.
Yeah,
Just on
that's
the
shutting
outskirts
down.
of Vegas.
And it's having its last night, and they get everyone really pissed, and they just film it. And they're all real people getting pissed in the pub, and these people have been going to this pub for years.
It works. It's a very novel
It sounds
concept.
like it shouldn't work, but it does work.
Yeah.
It could have easily been it could easily been awful.
It really could have been awful if you just like, we're going to get a bunch of people drunk in a pub and film it. But they managed to, I don't know.
Yeah.
They really made it work. It felt very genuine, very heartfelt.
So my film at number 5? 4? 6? 6.
I don't know. You got the list in front of
Number
you.
6 is Jackie. So this is by the same director.
Oh, yeah.
Spencer. So I watched that off the back of thinking Spencer was great. And yeah, it's all about Jackie Kennedy's in the life after her immediate aftermath after Kennedy's assassination, and her dealing with the media and dealing with politicians and all of that stuff. And again, I think it has a very similar tone, in my opinion, to Spencer. It's not quite as good. Didn't quite have that lasting punch and everything, but yeah, I thought it was still quite good.
I absolutely hated it.
Really?
Yeah. I thought it was rubbish. I thought Natalie Portman was awful, grating. She was so annoying. I didn't care. It's like, this is a great idea. You're going to follow JFK's widow immediately following his shooting. This is going to be riveting. All they were like, yes, I've redecorated the White House. I've put this colour over here. What? What are you talking about? Talk about the murder and stuff. How she feels. Show me some rawness to it. I
They
hated
talked
it.
about it when she had the interview with the journalist and stuff, and then there's all the other side of it.
It felt very cold to me. I didn't access it at all. Like Spencer, thank God he did Spencer, who shows he's improving. I didn't like that Jackie at all. And I like Natalie Portman, but she was horrible as Jackie Kennedy.
Okay, I'm surprised.
In my opinion.
I thought you'd been all over that. Number 5, which I'm surprised this film has stuck here for this whole time, is, I think it just shows you I haven't actually watched too vast of films this year, is Spider-Man No Way Home.
Oh, wow, man.
What, Spider-Man No Way Home? Is that the one that I saw?
No.
Oh.
This is the Tom Holland, the last one.
Oh,
Yeah,
Lord.
it's the last one.
That shows something. You adding this.
I know. That's why I was just looking at my list now. I was like, shit. Yeah, I didn't. It is good. It is a good fun film. I did very enjoy it, and it does. I think it is a nice end to Spider-Man. In my opinion, that's an end to Spider-Man because they bring all the generations together.
Is it?
Well, it's not going to be, is it, Ben? Let's be honest. But
Yeah.
It won't be.
It is. You can leave it there as someone who's watched Spider-Man across the years grow up. They're all there together.
Yeah. I mean, that can't be a spoiler anymore. Everyone's seen that.
I know. It's
I mean, I haven't seen
2
it.
months ago now, isn't it?
I haven't seen
it's
it, but
ages.
it's the one that they all come back in, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So if you've had exposure to it, everyone has.
Yeah.
Yep. And number 4.
Did you give that a 9?
No, this is an 8.
Oh, okay.
This is my.
I guess
number
that's
4.
like all the Michael Myers turning up in one film for me.
Imagine.
I mean, I'd be delighted if I saw it, yeah.
Yeah, and they
Just
all
all the
just
different
beat the shit
masks.
out of Laurie. And they beat the shit out of all of their villains across the films.
They are the villain.
Yeah.
They're just beating the shit out of each other. Hey, all the Michael Myers going at each other, I'd be down for that film.
I bet
So
you would.
They'd call it Halloween
Revenge.
Into Darkness.
Into darkness.
The
Or whatever
multiverse.
you said that film was called.
No Way Home.
Into the Multiverse.
That's a different one.
Into the
the
Spider-Verse
animated
then.
one.
Into the Myers verse.
Into the
Yeah.
Myers-verse, there you go.
Mayors first. Number 4 is the film. I don't know if you remember this one from the beginning of the year. Was Olivia Colman with The Lost Daughter.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
We've
Very
all seen
good.
that now.
Yeah, we have.
Yes. She goes on holiday to try and find herself and discover and deal with things that she
Demons?
has to. Yeah, demons. That's the word I was looking for. I think Olivia Colman is absolutely fantastic in it, and it is I think it's one of the very first films I watched of the year, and it's still there, sticking around.
Yeah, it's great.
It's a very, very honest portrayal of what it's
Yeah.
like to have children. That's what
Very
I
rich.
got most out of it.
Yeah.
I thought that Dakota Fanning was really good in it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's the- yeah.
Unrecognisable.
Yes, she was. She really was. Very good in it. I liked that it was showed the hypocrisy of like men, leave that, not leave, but men
Just walk away from it.
Exactly. And it's kind of like, well, that's expected. But a mother to do it, you are the worst person in the world. How dare you abandon your child?
Yeah.
I've abandoned my child.
I've abandoned my child. Give me the blood, Eli.
Yeah.
Give me the blood.
Give me the blood, Olivia Colman, and let me get out of here.
And number 3 is a film I've bought.
Ladies and
years ago.
gentlemen, if I say I'm a lost daughter, you will agree.
Oh, God, it started.
It's the end of your wrap-up. Had to be done.
And number 3, these are my 9s. Is the film I bought it years ago, meaning to watch it. Is Why to Mama Tambien.
Oh, yes.
E2 Mama Tambien.
E2 Mama.
E2 Mama. Why to Mama is Why to Mama, E2 Mama, whatever. Have you seen it, Ben?
I have not.
Okay.
I've seen it.
Yeah, about these two best friends who kind of go on a road trip with an older lady, and it's like a coming of age film, and she's teaching them life and teaching
Sexual
them.
awakening.
Sexual awakenings are in there, friendships are in there. Or are they in there? Who knows? Who knows what's going on in these kids' heads? But yeah, it's
How
very
old are
nice.
these kids?
Like 18, I'd say.
All right.
This is 2 teenage boys. What's his name?
They're of age.
They are in that age of. They've got a car and they're travelling around Mexico with an older lady. It's a good coming of age film.
Why should I care about this? Sell it to me because I don't like this director.
Well, then I'm not going to bother.
No, convince me.
I just didn't. Would you like Diego Luna? Who else is it?
He's alright in something. Gael Garcia Bernal, I like him.
Yeah. It's a coming of age film, and I think it's quite raw and quite. There isn't any bows and ribbons on it.
I
give it a
could say
9.
something to put you off it immediately.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
One of them, they lay on diving boards and masturbate and come into the swimming pool.
That's such
Hey,
a small part of the
I'm
film.
for that. I'm all for that.
Yeah.
I always remember that bit. It's quite sad as well, though. It's quite a sad film.
Yeah, it's not
At
it's
points.
not like a happy American coming of age film. It's a
Good. I hate those
Yeah.
happy American coming of age films.
Yeah,
yeah.
you might get something out of it.
Yeah. Anyway,
It's the guy who did
two,
Roma, man. How can you forgive
Yeah.
him?
I know.
I hate
It's a
it
different
very
kind of tone. This one.
Ironically, the best thing he ever did was a Harry Potter film.
Oh shit! Yeah, didn't he do Azkaban?
No, you know better than me.
I can't remember.
And number 2 is a film that Paul has mentioned already, and that is The Father.
Oh, that's the first crossover.
Oh wow!
Adam, didn't you watch that last year with me?
No.
Didn't we go to the
No,
cinema and
you
see
only-
that together?
It came on Amazon. It came on Amazon this year. I remember watching it.
Why, in my head, we went to the cinema and watched that. We went to Picture House
I
Central.
watched it on the 13th of. No, we met after. You went to watch it, and we met afterwards.
Oh.
We had a drink on the rooftop after. I went to
Yes,
see
yes.
something.
Yeah, you went to see something else. Yeah.
I can't remember what it was now, but
That's so fucking antisocial. Go to the cinema and then just go and see separate films.
we were just both in town for some reason. I can't remember why.
Wow.
I can't remember what I saw now. You have to probably have a look at the
Well,
dates.
I tell you what, I can be an investigator and go through Letterboxd and see when I logged it and then see what you
Yeah.
logged on that date.
Yep. Do you want to come back to me on that?
Well, of course, it will take me ages.
Okay. Anyway, and again, number 1 is a film that Paul mentioned. And again, I think this is the very first film I watched of the year. When did I went to the cinema to watch it? I watched it on the 3rd of January, and it's stuck with me ever since. And that is Titane.
Wow, I thought you watched that last year as well.
Same. I thought
No,
you
I
did.
watched it at the very beginning of this year, because it came out on like the 27th of December or something like that. You went to see it at London Film Festival.
Yeah. Look at that. That's if we ever covered that on the podcast, it would be all the 10s then.
I know. That is a podcast kind of worthy film as well. It's a fucking rip that apart and digest it. And
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
What a film.
what a film. So our top first time watches of the year are Titan and Get Back,
Titan.
and for 2 out of 3 of us, our best film of the entire year was the first film we watched this year. How wild is that?
I know.
If I could go
I've
back
always
to
felt like you
myself,
start the year off stronger though, because that's when
Yeah,
sometimes
possibly.
all the Oscar-y kind of films are out, and you're catching up with films that from the end of last year.
but there's something disappointing in a way about going, that film you just watched, this entire year, you're not going to see anything better than it.
Yeah. I think for first time watches, it is because you're not watching films of the year, you're watching older films, aren't you? And you're trying to catch up with the films from last year, like The Father, Entertain, are all, I guess The Lost Daughter. And they're all films they're the end of last year that you just never got around to watching.
Yeah.
It's like someone watching Banshees now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose. Anyway, very good lists each, but we got one more patron to tell us.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
So, do you want to hear from our third and final patron?
Yes, please.
Actually, roll
Who's it gonna
VT
be?
and hear who it is. I think you'll recognise this guy's voice.
Hello everyone, it's Jamie / Mr. Teach here. Alas, I was unable to watch my target of 400 films for the second year in a row. This time, however, I'm going to blame the World Cup getting in my way and taking up much of my precious evening viewing. My favourite first watch of the year, I think, was a bit tricky to decide upon. I ended up going for Michael Mann's Heat-style prototype with his 1981 debut film, Thief. It's quite appropriate that I honour a Jimmy Caan film alongside my pick of Misery on the pod, and this was definitely a performance from him in his muscular prime. The man-otter stamps are evident from the beginning, both stylistically and thematically. I'm a sucker for a good old-fashioned synth score, and this one from Tangerine Dream is a banger. What impresses me the most, however, is Mann's precise attention to detail, which is only matched by David Fincher's meticulous approach.
Thank you, Jamie. And I haven't seen that film.
Yeah, I've not seen it. I've been meaning to watch it for a long time.
Yeah, me too. Adam, you've seen it?
Adam?
I've seen Thief, yes, ages and ages ago.
You remember it?
I remember bits of it, yeah. I'd like to
remember
watch
liking
it.
it?
I remember enjoying it, yes.
You give it an 8 out of 10, Adam.
You must have very enjoyed it.
I very enjoyed it.
See, Michael Mann must have a thing for these sorts of stories because it's about like Safecracker again. I'm in the middle of reading this Heat 2 book, and it took a while for me to get into because it felt like I don't see the point of this. But now I'm in it, I'm invested, and it's real. It's really going into the nitty gritty of the heist that came before the big heist in Heat and how that set up characters' mentalities for where they're at. But he must love the whole safe cracking thing. Like, imagine not being that thing, not being a safe cracker, but being like, I enjoy it so much, I'm going to keep making films about it.
He obviously just has a fascination. Fascination for it.
Obviously does. All right, should we just do classic film busters for our
Let's do
honourable
classic
mentions?
film busters.
We should keep this order going if you want.
All right, yeah, go on. Yeah, let's keep the order. Paul.
Okay. I'm going to rattle through my honourable mentions. This is my 20 to 11. So my 20
So let's do this. So let's do this. We get one sentence to say what we think about the film.
Okay.
Only
Okay.
one.
I want the film and the score and a sentence.
Yeah.
Okay. My number 20. Speak No Evil. 7 out of 10. It was good, but the people are a little bit annoying and make stupid decisions. Number 19. Prey. 7 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. They should have done proper Comanche speaking in it rather than a dub.
Agreed.
Now, number 18. Don't Worry, Darling. 7 out of 10. We really enjoyed it more than most people, and I stick by it. I don't have anything bad to say about it. Apart from Harry Styles.
Yeah.
My number 17. This is Harry Potter 20th Anniversary Return to Hogwarts.
Oh, wow.
This was
Christ.
8 out of 10. It's just lovely just because I love Harry Potter, just to see these people come back together and have a chat.
Is this the Corden one?
The Corden one?
Didn't James Corden host it?
No.
Who hosted
Fuck that,
it?
I would not have watched it.
Oh, he
He's
did
thinking of the
one,
Friends
didn't he?
reunion.
Yeah, the Friends.
Oh,
didn't
fuck
he?
that. Number 16. This is something we got from as a special premiere from Warner Brothers, so thank you. This is DC League of Super Pets, right on my street. This is an 8 out of 10. Loads of fun. Great voice artistry. And a fun, silly time. Now, number 15. Bo Burnham, The Inside Outtakes. 8 out of 10. You know how much we love Inside. This was just like a little sneak peek behind the scenes with a little bit of bonus content and one of the best lines from any of the songs. Everyone is a feminist until there's a spider around.
It's not technically true because I hate spiders and Jenny is the one who has to save me from spiders. So it's not technically true.
Not technically in every situation. And number 14, another DC animated film. You know, I love it. This is Constantine, the House of Mystery. This is an 8 out of 10. It is a pretty disgusting and funky story, which I enjoy very much, and it's quite short, so it's good. Number 13, this is Thor, Love and Thunder. It's not the best. It's an 8 out of 10. It's not the best Thor film, but it's got a great Christian Bale performance in it, and he's pretty creepy and pretty scary. We got a number 12, The Novice. I know Ben didn't like this. It's an 8 out of 10, but it's like Whiplash on boats, and it's a pretty great time that I enjoyed.
It's that woman from Orphan.
Orphan, yeah. And then my 11 out of 10. It's Nope, the Jordan Peele film. It didn't reach the top 10. It's an 8 out of 10. And I liked it, but I had some problems. But it's still great.
That might be the only appearance of Nope.
Might be.
Unless Adam's got it, because it ain't on my list.
I'll have to wait to see.
I have to wait and see.
We'll have to wait and see.
There was Paul's honourable mentions. You got any comments on any of them, Adam?
Well, I imagine I'm going to hit a couple of them as I go through my list. So.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, let's do that. All right, one sentence. My number 20 is, with a 7, Barbarian. No right to be as good as it was, considering it's fairly obvious, but it's pretty inventive. Number 19, Don't Worry Darling. 7 out of 10. Harry Styles' appalling acting aside, it's actually quite a clever and enjoyable movie. Number 18, 7 out of 10. Everything Everywhere All at Once. Visually very pleasing, but it's a hollow film that thinks it's saying a lot more than it is for me. Number 17, another 7 out of 10. Violent Night, a new action Christmas film for the ages, which I preferred to Die Hard and could see watching again.
Wow.
Number 16, another 7 out of 10. Throwback to January, it's the new Scream, which was, while not as good as the originals, it's a worthy entry. And I'd still be intrigued to see the next one. Number 15, 8 out of 10. We spoke about him before. Adam Sandler's Hustle. I don't care about basketball, but I was invested in the story, and it was a good payoff. Number 14, throwback to earlier in the year, 8 out of 10. The Batman. I know we're going to speak about that later, so we'll save it for then. Number 13, 8 out of 10. Weird, the Al Yankovic story. Daniel Radcliffe playing Weird Al Yankovic had no right being as funny as it was, and I had a whale of a time apart from the last 20 to 30 minutes where it gets a bit stupid. Number 12, 8 out of 10. Nitram, the true story of a kid who turned into a mass shooter in Australia. following his sort of like gritty home life. Very dark, very disturbing. Number 11, 8 out of 10, The Stranger, Joel Edgerton, and our man from from what's the film called? Possum. Sean Harris. Very disturbing film about a man who has killed a child, and the sting operation with Joel Edgerton going undercover to get a confession out of him.
Oh shit!
Great. That's my 11.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Ready?
Yeah, let's have it.
Let's do it.
At number 20, Barbarian, 7 out of 10. Like Ben says, it's kind of clever. It has some moments, but overall, it's just lacking something to bring it up to as good as everyone was going on about it. Number 19, 8 out of 10 is Prey, the Predator film. Enjoyable, nice, fun take on the Predator franchise, and yeah, nice remake of it. Yeah. 18, 8 out of 10. These are all 8 out of 10s now. I'm going to stop saying 8 out of 10. Jackass Forever. The new Jackass film, still the same, still good fun, still them being stupid idiots. 17 is here again, it's Nope. Tries to be more clever than it is. But yeah, I the more I thought about it afterwards, I've enjoyed it a little bit more. But again, I was expecting more from a Jordan Peele film. Number 16 is 13 Lives, the Ron Howard film about the guy stuck in the cave in Thailand.
This is the Ron Howard one, is it?
Yeah, this isn't the documentary. This is the film he did. Right. Again, it's quite interesting to watch. I didn't know too much about the story, so I was kind of learning from it as well.
I'm not comfortable that they whitewashed the story for that one.
What do you mean?
Yeah, they did, didn't they? Yeah.
Just put a bunch of American actors in it and make it a white story.
They were the people who were English. The guys who saved them were English divers.
I thought it was a Thai thing. I don't think that's true.
They were English people who led the expedition. They taught the Thai army navy how to help them as well. But the Thai divers, they were called in by Thailand. These divers from England.
Is this true?
I thought they were like. I swear they were like Swedish or something.
No, they were English. The guys who did it. Now, that's why it was such a big thing over here as well.
Well, you've watched it, you know.
Anyway, number 15 is Elvis. It was good fun. I can't complain about it. What's his name was quite good as Elvis as well. Had some charisma about him.
I have no desire to watch that at all. He looks horrible to me.
Number 14 is Scream. It's on my list as well. We always did a podcast on this with Scott. Number 13 is Bullet Train. It's a good fun film.
Terrible British accent.
There was a couple of terrible British accents in it, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to knock that down. It is good fun, but it just kind of runs out a little bit towards the end. Number 12...
Runs out of track.
Yeah, literally. Number 12 is Glass Onion, a Knives Out story. I'm not sure. Maybe someone's going to have this higher up their list than me, but I don't know. But again, it was a nice, fun entry into the Knives Out one. It is one I probably would like to rewatch because I think it is tonally different to the first one. So, yeah. And number 11 is Weird, the Al Yankovic story. Like said, it didn't have the right to be as good fun as it was.
Well, there you go.
There's a nice spectrum.
That's nice, isn't it?
That's nice. I can't wait to hear what made the top 10, though.
Oh, shall we see? Right, so this is our top 10 films of 2022 that were actually released in 2022. So we're going to do this a little different. We're all going to do our 10s, all do our 9s, all do our 8s, and work our way to the number 1s.
Yes.
Are you ready for my number 10?
Yes.
So, my number 10 of 2022. All Quiet on the Western Front.
Okay,
this is an 8 out of 10. We're still on the 8 out of 10s. It is wonderfully played. Like the choreography of just how everything's placed, just the chaos that's unfolding in just behind the actual action you're supposed to be watching. It's just everything's happening all at once. It's really well played, and it's great to see from the German side. You know, if you don't normally see it, so it's quite refreshing. But it doesn't really stray away from anything you expect. Really, apart from that, it's like everything that happens, you kind of expect it to be there. But what it does miss is a direction. I like to see, like in Saving Private Ryan, you know what their goal is. There's a goal. Where this is just more like they're just experiencing war, and it's the horror of war, and going from the mindset of thinking, yeah, we're doing this for our country, we're excited to go to war, to being downtrodden and people dying.
Yeah.
But it's got. I think the best thing about it is its first opening scenes, first 10 minutes, which is, I did describe it to you before, which is the uniform of a soldier who runs to the front line, gets killed, and the process of his uniform being washed, repaired, and then given to our lead character.
Literally the only bit of the film that I've seen.
Yeah, and I think that's a great. That is something I've never seen before. I think that was great.
I saw a tweet the other day that said everyone I know who watched All Quiet on the Western Front at home gives it an 8. Everyone who watched it at the cinema gives it a 10. Do you believe that would have been the case if you saw it on a big screen?
I got a fucking big screen, mate. So
I know, but you know the immersive cinema thing, rather than a big screen at home, like that.
No,
immersion.
I wouldn't have. Because it's the story. I want a story, like a plot thread that I'm following, and I know it's going to end somewhere. I'm looking out for a goal. It's like 1917. It's like I knew what that goal was, and I can follow that, and I can be excited for the mission. Whereas this, I'm just experiencing war.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I keep away from it, to be honest. War films have their place, but I just can't watch very many of them.
Yeah, I get that.
Well, there you go.
That's my number 10.
Oh, it's me. My number 10 is Gaspar Noé's Vortex. Have you boys heard about this film?
I have heard the name, yes. Although it feels like I swear that's an old film.
No, he released it this year. And it is, funnily enough, Dario Argento, the great giallo Italian horror director, plays the husband of a woman who has extreme dementia. As always.
Oh, yes.
I have a dementia film every year. And what is brilliant about this film is Noé splits the screen from the beginning, and you are constantly watching two screens throughout the movie. The left follows the husband, and the right follows the wife. And you watch the entire film that way, and it shows over the course of the movie how dementia just erodes their life.
Yeah.
Their relationship. So they're walking familiar pathways together and hallways and rooms of their house where loving times happened once, and now it's just gotten horrendous. It's probably considering it's dealing with dementia and considering the films that Gaspar Noé normally directs, this is probably his softest film. It's like there's no horrific, terrible moment, extreme on-camera moment, other than the fact that the man who's done those films before has turned his lens on dementia, so it's all the more gut-wrenching because of that. But it's a hell of an experience to watch the two screens. I've never, I don't think I've ever seen a film that is split screen all the way through, and you pick what you're looking at. Great, I highly recommend it. And Dario Argento is brilliant as the actor, essentially.
Yeah. Oh, wicked.
Yes.
Okay, so number 10 for me is a film that was the secret film at the London Film Festival. And it's out now. It's out on Disney Plus now. It's out everywhere now because everything's out everywhere now. So you guys might have seen it. I don't know if you have or not yet. And it is The Menu. So I think the thing about this film that elevated it so much for me was the fact that I knew nothing about this film. I was went in completely blind, and it added so much to this film. I've seen the trailer since, and everything like that, and the discourse around it, and I think it takes away from the film and everything like that. So I think that's why I enjoyed this film so much, and it was great. There was great performances again across the board. and it's a nice, fun, original-ish film, and I thought it was going to be like a boiling point film, but it's not.
It's funny that two films have released in such quick succession about the kitchen experience.
Yes.
Does it feel like if you like Succession, you like the film, or does it feel very different?
I think the way it's shot is very similar to Succession. It's not as... It's a little bit more professional than Succession in that way of like... Succession has those shaky cameras, doesn't it? It has those...
Yeah.
Everything
Not
feels
handheld.
like nothing's... Yeah, everything's handheld. Nothing's stabilised, is it? It's all... Whereas this is kind of very shot all in one location as well.
I still don't know what it's about, though, other than it's in a kitchen.
That's the thing. Don't look at what this is about. I think everything that they've tried to advertise this film for what the film, and I think it ruins the film. It ruins your experience of the film. I think
I've avoided it.
Try not to know anything about this film. I think that's why I thought it was so good, because I knew fuck all about it.
I remember you and
Francis
Francis coming out of that and being a bit disappointed. It's my recollection.
I would not. I wouldn't think I was disappointed. I enjoyed it. At one point, I thought it was going to be a lot better than it was. There was a point where it hit, and I was like, no, this is really fucking good. And then it just didn't quite, in the middle, and then it just didn't quite hold that. So I think there's that little taste that it could leave you with.
Fair enough.
But yeah.
I am going to watch it because, as you say, it's just come out on Disney Plus, so I'm going to probably watch it very, very soon.
Same. Right, you want my 9?
Number 9.
9?
Number 9.
I don't think any of you watch this film. Fire Island?
Nope.
Never heard of it.
Nope. So it is about, it's a comedy. It is about a group of gay friends, and they'll go to this place called Fire Island.
scoring another point for the homosexuals.
I haven't seen any homosexual films in your picks.
No, I know. I'm very anti them now.
You changed your ways. So they go to this place called Fire Island, and it's just exclusively the gay community, and they all just go there every year just to have a massive party for, I think it's a long weekend or something. Yeah. And it's just really refreshing. It's not really like your standard film about a gay guy where he's going through the struggles being gay. They're just all gay. And it's just a wonderful time, and the energy is amazing. The relationships between the friends are great. They all got their own kind of great personalities, and there's a great cover of Pure Imagination from Willy Wonka that plays on their way on the boat towards the island, and it's just such a great way to start the film. It really got me into it, and it's just a really, really fun film. Great scenes where they're all taking a different drug. They basically root all through their pockets and all place whatever drugs they have left on this table, and they're all like, okay, we all decide what one we're going to take, and they all just have this different experience over this one night of everyone, some people being up, some people being down, some people like hallucinating. It's a really funny scene, and it's a great little film.
Is it a English language film?
It's American.
Oh.
It's American, yeah.
I can't
remember what the story is.
Foreign.
But yeah, I'd definitely recommend it. Great film.
Okay.
8 out of 10.
Fire Island. I'll add it to the watch list.
Fire Island.
My number 9, actually, I'm probably not going to be saying much about it because I've got a feeling Paul has this higher on his list, is The Northman.
I've got it higher on my list.
All right, we'll wait and talk about it then. But it's an 8 from me.
Okay. Number 9 on my list is a film. Again, I think someone might have higher on their list, and it is Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah, let's wait.
I haven't seen it yet.
All right, let's go around to the 8s. Go on, we may as well carry on for now.
Okay, well, this is probably a film that someone's got on their list. This is Halloween Ends. It's an 8 out of 10.
It's higher. We'll wait until then.
Okay.
Oh shit, I've been caught. I didn't expect it to come around so quickly. This is a film I think someone has higher on their list. The Whale.
I've seen it
too.
Adam's number 8.
Okay, and then this is a film that someone's going to have higher on their list. At number 8, because it's Northman.
I've got it higher on my list.
Wow, okay, this is wild. Paul.
Okay, this is my number 7. I don't think anyone's going to have this higher on the list.
We're settled.
Yes, this is
Party
Doctor
over.
Strange Multiverse of Madness. Have you got this high on your list,
I've
Ben?
got it higher on my list.
This is just it's a really great film for me. I watched it a couple of times now. It strays into horror, which is great because it's by Sam Raimi. There's some great effects in it. There's some great horror effects. There's a great zombie Doctor Strange in it. And it's gruesome. I don't even know how it passed with its rating, really, because it's quite a gruesome looking zombie. But it strays into different universes that Doctor Strange is traveling through to try and solve this whole situation he's in. And it's a great little film. I really enjoyed it. And it's got some cameos from some... I'm not going to ruin it because I don't know if anyone has seen this or everyone's seen it, but it got some cameos from some characters that we've seen before in films, in other films, in other universes.
Yeah.
And also some characters which we've been waiting to come to the Marvel Universe for a while, and it makes it all the more better for it. So it's a wonderful watch. And that's all you need to hear about a Marvel film.
Well,
Yes.
look at that. There's a wonderful watch, and it was animated, was it?
No, it wasn't animated.
Oh. Oh,
This
I
is
thought we were talking about a
it's
cartoon.
Doctor Strange. No, Doctor Strange film with Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah, I don't know why. I just assumed it was a cartoon one because maybe it's because you watch a lot of the DC animated things.
Yeah.
I didn't realise you were talking about
Marvel.
the actual.
This is Marvel.
Oh yes, sorry.
Yeah.
My apology. I do get confused with Doctor Strange.
At some points, he's going through falling through different universes, and he does at one point turn into a cartoon. I'm pretty sure. So it is cartoon at one point.
I'm revealing myself. I'd actually seen the cartoon bit.
It's like, damn it.
Yeah.
On to you, Ben.
Well, this is an animation. So this is my number 7. Nobody will have this on their list. Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe.
Oh, yes.
Big Beavis and Butthead fan from way back in the day. So when I heard that there was going to be this 21st century update, I was so excited, with Mike Judge at the helm, as always. And it is just like old times. They haven't tried to do anything to make them appeal to a newer audience or anything like that. The clever thing that they do is take their characters from their heyday, the 90s, mid-90s MTV generation, and literally have them time travel to modern day to set it in contemporary time. So they are exactly how they were then, but in modern day, and they just navigate everything that comes with 2021, 2022 woke culture. And it's not handled in a dismissive, awkward way. It's handled very cleverly because essentially these two kids are too fucking dumb to even understand what cancel culture is, what woke culture is, all the sort of progressive things they can't get their head around because they didn't get their head around the opposite of that. Beavis and Butthead have never been mean, nasty characters. They've always just been dumb idiots, jackass kids, essentially. And it's beautiful to see them in 2021, 2022, dealing with iPhone, Siri. It's very funny. I laughed so much. I was so happy seeing them on screen again. It clearly isn't any sort of cash grab or anything like that because there's no money to be made in the Beavis and Butthead property. It was just like, hey, you Beavis and Butthead fans, do you fancy a movie after all these years? Well, here you go. And it was great. I very much enjoyed it. I think Julio watched it. I can't remember if Julio said that he watched the old Beavis and Butthead much or not, but he very much enjoyed it as well. So it's not just a nostalgia factor, really.
Yeah.
And do you want to do yours?
Yeah,
Number 7, Adam?
mine at number 7 is not a film that someone's going to have higher up their list, unless someone's watched it on the sly. It's a film I've watched twice this year because I actually loved it so much. It's such good fun. It's a brilliant film. I really recommend for Paul to watch it. It's on Amazon Prime now, and it is The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Oh, yeah.
Nicolas
love
Cage.
I just fucking love this film. So it's such good fun. Yeah, I feel like if Paul doesn't enjoy it, then I don't know what Paul would enjoy.
I feel like Paul is holding off. I might be wrong, but I feel like you're holding off in case you don't like it because it's too
it's not
aware
even
of
that. I just
itself.
forget. I've forgotten about it.
Yeah, it's on Amazon Prime now. I think, it's such good fun. It's so stupid, but in all the best possible ways.
I will get to watch it soon because I'll just mention it to Zoe and she'll immediately want to watch it. So.
Have you seen that trailer doing the rounds at the moment, Renfield?
Yes. She was so she was. I
Is it
made
for
her
this
watch it
Dracula
yesterday.
one?
We watched it together.
Yeah.
And we got to it, but he basically is not revealed to the last like 30 seconds of the trailer, and she was like, she got to it. She was like, no, because he saw a silhouette. She was like, no. She was like, I was enjoying this before Nicolas Cage even appeared.
Wow.
So yeah, she's going to be well up for that one.
But yeah, watch it. It's on Amazon Prime, and I recommend everyone else to watch it as well.
Cool. Okay.
Excellent.
Right, so this finally get to my number 6 now, and this film you've all mentioned. This is The Northman, finally.
Oh, man.
So this is the highest up, is it?
Yes.
See,
this
I
is the highest
didn't
up it
think
will
this
be.
film would be in your lists or high up your lists, but yeah.
That's the thing. I think Ben originally liked it more than me. You gave it a 9 to start with, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah.
My feelings on it were that when I first watched it, I was sort of blown away by it because I was like all encompassed by it to a
It's a
point where I was
visual
like,
delight.
oh wow, it is. But then pretty much within a couple of days, it had sort of slipped away, and
Yeah.
it was like it was good. It was good. It is very good, but it was
It could have been better.
But like, I don't really know if it could have been. I don't know.
I don't know how, but
if you
like,
could say
it
how
could-
to make this a 10, it just wasn't the story that I'm ever really going to give a 10 to. You know, The Northman, great, yeah,
Was this an 8 out of 10 for you guys then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
8s across the board. I feel like when we all give something 8s across the board, it's kind of like damning it in a way, because it's kind of like
It's like that
Yeah,
saying,
we all
it's like
agree
the worst
you're good.
thing to say is something's good, isn't it?
it
That's
is.
7. I'd say 7's good. I'd say this is great.
Yes, this is great.
And
It's
8 is
true,
great.
Yeah. 8 is great, and 7 is good. 7 is a good score. Anything that gets a 7 is considered respectable.
Yeah. But this is like the mythology in this is great. It's like just bonkers stuff.
Yeah.
Like the Norse mythology. The narration is great. Just blood-soaked, beautiful, stunning thing to behold, really.
The real visual feast was that battle at the end when there's that volcano
It's like fucking Star Wars.
lava. Yeah, it's like Star Wars, yeah. And it's also like Lion King. It's like that fight between Scar and Simba.
Yeah. That's the thing, though. I don't think it has the staying power.
It doesn't.
Yeah. It's wonderful to watch, but then it's like, okay, you've done it now.
Whereas Lighthouse by Eggers, by comparison, is stunning to look at and also just stays with you. Gets
I'd say
hooks
so.
into you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
What number was that, Paul?
6.
6. Okay, well, here's my 6. I think I'm the only one that has this high up. And we can all talk about it because it's very topical. Glass Onion, A Knives Out mystery.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I've got stuff to say. Go on.
So Paul doesn't really like it, and Adam, I think me and you both give it an 8. Is that right?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I don't know. It's again, like I said earlier, it's a bit tonally different from the first one. It was
Very
more
different.
it wasn't what I was expecting it to be, if that makes sense. I was expecting it to have the same like kind of sophistication and cleverness, but this went wacky. In my opinion, I enjoyed the aspects, but at the end of the film, it really wasn't a Knives Out film, which I was a bit like, oh, okay.
Well, the
I don't know
thing
what Knives
they
Out film should be, but it wasn't the same as the first one.
First of all, they shouldn't call them Knives Out films because the first one is Knives Out. It should be called a Benoit Blanc mystery because Benoit Blanc is the common thread. In a way, I like that it went completely different. It went so big and was so sprawling because it really sets it apart. It's not like, oh, we just got the exact same film again. It's like, we're going to give you something completely new. The trouble that I had with it was that, like, you kind of said in your comments in the WhatsApp to us before we watched it, Adam, you said maybe too big. That's what you said. You like it was big, maybe too big, or epic, maybe too epic, something like that. And that was true of the first watch. Like the first half of the film, I was like, I'm constantly feeling lost and also feeling like I don't know if I should care about any of this. But when it double backed on itself,
that's when I enjoyed it.
That's exactly. And I thought, well, this is clever because you told us that in the opening scene.
Yeah, and then the final. Yeah.
Yes, and everything started clicking, and while that was clicking, I was like, I dig it. I do agree. I know that Paul feels this way, and I do agree that it thinks a lot of itself. It thinks it's quite smart, and it thinks it's quite clever, and it keeps nudging at
But
that.
it was
and I
quite
do agree,
clever, and
but
it was quite. I would like to
Yeah.
rewatch it again, the first half, and see if there is any indications when you go back about what they've actually done.
absolutely. A second watch, I feel, could make this better.
That's what I mean, and also I know where it's going now. I know what I'm
Yeah.
dealing with. I thought I was dealing with a Knives Out film, not a Glass Onion film.
Yeah, quite. And
And
I
I
liked
disagree.
everyone apart from Hudson. Go on, let's hear it.
With
So,
Hudson, what's his name?
Kate
Baptista.
No, Kate Hudson.
Okay, Hudson. Okay.
Hudson. So I gave it a 7 when I first watched it. I
Oh, so you
enjoyed
still
it.
think it's good?
You
I
watched it
enjoyed
twice.
I've watched it once. I enjoyed it. Okay, so I came out of it and I was like, but there's something I wasn't sure about. The more it's stayed with me, right? The more I've spoken about it with people, the less I think of it. I've dropped it to
Really?
a 6 now. Right?
Wow. What did you give the first? What did you give Knives Out?
An 8. An 8.
Okay.
So, for starters, it's non-linear narrative. It thinks that's a really good plot device to like create a mystery, but I think that's just a cop out, because it's not a mystery once you put it all in the right order. It's not a murder mystery when you're basically not revealing stuff to the audience. It's not clever, okay? Especially when your big reveal moment, where I'm not going to say what it is, but the big thing where it's like an unreliable narrator, right? Where you've been told something, but that's actually not what happened, okay? And Benoit Blanc created that thing you were supposed to have seen. So he's creating the mystery, he's not solving the mystery, okay? And that thing, if you just showed us what actually happened, then the whole mystery will be solved. It's not
I
a
still
mystery.
think there's more mystery around the
It's
few you
not.
don't know. You've still
There's
got to
not.
find out whys and ins and outs.
If you
and-
watch it again, I do not think you'll see anything being like, oh, now it makes sense. Because I don't think there's anything there other than that one thing that happens that you're shown a different view of halfway through the film, and then you actually see the real thing by the end. If that wasn't there, everything would be solved.
But 2 points. Number one, they do that in Knives Out, where you're suddenly
there's
shown
more-
something that happened before, which if you had seen that beforehand, the whole mystery there would be no mystery.
But there's a better story revolving around it.
Well, yeah, I don't disagree with that.
no, yeah.
But also, that what you said about withholding stuff and not showing the audience it being a cop-out, mate, your second favourite film of all time, Reservoir Dogs, does exactly that. You don't know what's happening.
But it's a reveal.
And then there's a reveal, and then you
No,
go
no.
back in time. That's exactly
not,
what happened
that's
here.
No, but that's not what I'm saying. They are showing you a scene that is a fake.
Where's the fake scene?
Without spoiling it, I can tell you now. I'm going to tell them now, but I'm going to cut this out.
Anyway, should we carry on, because none
We
of this
agree
is
to
going in the
disagree on this
podcast,
one,
and
yeah.
we're wasting.
The annoying thing is that entire conversation is better than anything we've done today, and no one's going to hear it.
We've just had a conversation there. We've probably had about a 10-minute conversation about a plot point that happened in Glass Onion.
And neither of them got to any point of agreement with each other.
No, we did not. But we will put it at the end of the podcast. We don't want to spoil and have to make people skip forward in the podcast. So if you want to hear that spoiler talk, it will be at the end of the podcast, just to warn you now.
Yes.
Anyway, I give
Ben,
it a
what
6
was
out of 10.
What film did you... Oh, is it my film now?
No, that was my film.
Yes.
I said it. But just the final
Okay.
word on...
Well, my
final
film at
word,
number
listen,
6,
the final word on
which
Glass
is definitely
Onion...
going to be higher up,
Adam,
is The Batman.
is he just talking over me?
No,
I couldn't hear you.
You haven't been speaking.
I've been speaking for like fucking
Oh,
30
we haven't
seconds.
heard
No
you.
wonder you two have just been talking over me. I was
I
saying...
didn't hear anything you said.
The final word on Glass Onion...
Yeah.
The reason that Paul rates it so low is because they reveal that Benoit Blanc is a homosexual.
Oh, God.
He's undone his gay tax.
Oh, God, sorry. That is...
Yes.
You've revealed my secrets.
Exactly.
But yes. Anyway, my film at number 6 is The Batman, which is obviously higher up someone else's list.
It's higher up somewhere in my list. You can't guess where.
There we go.
I can't possibly fathom where that could be.
Now we're getting into the area where people's films are going to start coming up from earlier on, I guess.
Maybe. But this is... no one's going to have this on their list. This is my number 5. This is a DC animated film. And the reason I love it so much is because it deals with father and sons, and it just made me think of Woody. This is Batman and Superman, Battle of the Super Sons. And it's just lovely because it's just the great relationship between Jonathan Kent, Superman's son, and it's just a very genuine relationship between them. And he's just so excited that he can look up to his father, that he's this massive hero. And the animation is beautiful. The villain involved is very terrifying, and I just had a wonderful time. It's a 9 out of 10, that one. And there you go. You can do your number 5s now.
My number 5 is one that no one's seen as well. It's the new Hellraiser, which isn't a remake of the old Hellraiser, which is why it kind of works. In fact, I think it is better, possibly, than the original, because it does something very faithful to the book by Clive Barker with the characters, the Cenobites, brings it into a more contemporary setting. It's a little low budget in places, but overall I think it's quite progressive in what it does. Ultimately, the Hellraiser series are all about the pleasures of the flesh, people wanting to experience the extreme pleasures, and what it means for your soul if you wish for too much. It's all quite dark and twisted and bloody and sexy and it quite gritty and grungy, and it feels like a real good 21st century horror film, and I really liked it, and I could see myself watching it multiple times. So I am going to go out on a limb and say it's better than the original Hellraiser.
Wow.
And I like it.
I still haven't seen the original.
Oh boy.
It's not right.
Rectify that.
Number 5 on my list. I'm not sure. This is going to be on. So I think it's going to be on Paul's list higher up. It is Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I got it higher up.
Okay.
There we go. Adam doesn't get a chance to speak about any of his films.
My number 4. I think you both watched this last year, so I'm probably going to be the only one with it. But this is Boiling Point.
It's on my list because I watched it this year.
Christ, we're still talking Boiling Point.
Yeah. Oh, so it's
Adam.
higher up, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. There you go. Adam's going to speak about something.
Wow,
Yeah.
There we go. All right. You boys haven't got it on your list. I mentioned it in the Patreon last time. This is my number 4. It's a 9 out of 10. Sorry, I should have said this. Yeah, this is the first 9 out of 10. It's the Figo affair, the transfer that changed football.
I remember you speaking about this.
Like I said before, with any great documentary,
this.
I got a lot of what did they say? I got a lot of I got no what in the game, skin
Clout?
in the game.
That's the one.
Clout. I've got plenty of clout, thank you very much. I got skin in the game because I'm a Madrid fan. But I think this is the kind of documentary that even if you didn't like football, you would get something out of it because it's so riveting. It is like watching the betrayal of someone in the mafia turning state's witness and giving all the evidence, and that person becoming the most wanted person by the mafia only in football because of this epic rivalry. And it's brilliant. I love it because of my own personal interest in it, but I think it works as a very compelling documentary. Certainly the best documentary released this year.
Yes. All right. Okay. Number 4 is the first of my 9s.
Oh.
And I don't know, maybe you're going to mention this film, Ben, but Paul's definitely not, but it's The Whale.
Yeah, I had it as my number 8, sorry.
Did you? Oh yeah, you did, because
we haven't talked about it.
Yeah, that's why I didn't know if you were going to have it higher. Yes, so it's not out yet, obviously. I don't know, is it out in America?
I think it comes out in February.
Okay.
Just in time for all the Oscars.
He's on Graham Norton in a couple of weeks' time, I've seen.
Oh,
so
well, it must be out
coming out at the end of the
maybe.
month. So,
yeah.
But yes, so it is. I don't know. It's a lot. It's a big film to swallow, isn't it?
Boom.
Literally. Yeah. I don't know how to talk about it without.
Well,
it's such a hard hit.
You needed a wee, and you went for one.
I did. I think that did distract me from this film quite a bit, but I'll definitely be going to rewatch it on an empty bladder. We had a lot of cups of tea that morning, didn't we? And coffee.
Watch it without drinking copious amounts of liquid beforehand.
I only like 3 cups of tea. But anyway,
that'll do it, mate.
Yes, it's incredibly heartbreaking. It's incredibly profound. Yeah, I think you just have to watch it, and when people are out, when people watch it, we can talk about it properly.
I will go out, sit my neck on the line, and say he deserves the Oscar for it because it's a great performance by him, but the story leaves much to be desired.
Okay.
I don't think the story is strong enough.
I don't even know what the story is.
Well, we won't talk of it. But suffice to say, if he wins the Academy Award for Best Actor, I'll be happy. If it wins the Best Picture Award, that is ridiculous.
Well, it depends. I don't know what else is going to be in that category.
Well, Banshees is going to be there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. True. Who knows? Let's see.
I think Paul will go same as me or 7. I reckon. I don't think he's going to. I don't think he's going to 9 it.
Ben?
I give it an 8.
Yeah.
I think that performance alone demands an 8.
Yeah,
and I was never a big fan of Brendan Fraser anyway. That's why seeing him like this is like, oh shit, son, you've actually got some skills, haven't you? And I feel the best thing for this film is all the PR stuff with him bursting into tears at every screening there is of it, because it just makes you love him.
Yeah, pretty sweet.
Oh yeah, and Sadie Sink is great in it. Actually, her performance is great. The girl from Stranger Things.
Is that the one who works in the ice cream place?
No, it's the girl who
the ginger
Kate
one.
Bush is up into the air.
Oh right, yes.
The redhead, I think you meant to say, Adam.
Sorry.
He's Scottish. You can say it once.
I've got a very ginger beard at the moment. So.
Yeah, it's very ginger. I was telling him the other day.
Why have you got a ginger beard?
It's just grown
so
long
ginger.
and it's gone ginger.
You're growing your beard out.
I just haven't shaved it for a while.
You'll never be me, so don't try to.
Do you want my number 3?
No, give us your number 2. We'll leave the 3s to the end.
Well, I think someone's going to speak about this, so it's Banshees.
It's number 3 for
Banshees
me.
of Inisherin. Oh, it's number 3 for you as well?
We'll hold off for me because that comes to later, so let's have the number 2. Oh no, my number 3 then.
Yes, your number 3.
Is Halloween Ends.
Oh, of course.
Imagine if we told you at the beginning of the year a Halloween film would be your number 3. You'd be so happy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's the thing. I'm
Did
very
you
happy.
reckon it would have said it would have been an awful year, or do you reckon that the Halloween film would have been excellent?
A bit of both, and I stand by it. I think that is the case, that Halloween Ends is this high up. I do think that this 2022 has been, since we've been doing these end of year wrap ups, I think this has been the worst year for film for me personally. Nothing gets a 10, and I think it's been a very poor year.
2 10s, 2 9s, the rest have been 8s.
But Halloween Ends, we've talked about it on the podcast, of course, but on reflection, a couple of months later, I look back on it and I'm like, man, it did something very new, very fresh, engaging, original, made a long-time Halloween fan very happy, got me excited about the whole new trilogy, and not perfect, but none of them ever have been apart from the original, so I'm delighted with it.
Fair enough.
I thought it was great as well. Very good. I know it didn't for you, but it beat Kills for me.
Oh yeah, it didn't quite beat Kills for me. Kills was special. I love that ending of Kills so much.
Yeah. Anything else? Do you want because it skips over Adam, doesn't it? Yeah.
We're up to
number
number 2s now.
Number 2s. This has been mentioned, and my number 2 is Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Wow, it made it.
Yeah, it made it to my number 2.
Yeah.
Absolute madness. I think just this film, I love when a film can make a concept and like create its own kind of universe, just like The Matrix did. this has done that, and it's just genre bending stuff, bonkers. Just the mythology of it all was great. How they built it. It's just lovely. It does kind of lose itself because it doesn't lose itself. It loses me, I guess. There's parts where I'm like, does this make sense?
Yeah.
Does this make
I
sense?
watched it again, and I think it was a 9 before.
Stuff.
It's now an 8.
The bagel stuff was
and
very
it did go
annoying.
a bit mental for a while. Like when I watched it again, I think when you first watched it, I was very swept up in how fun it was and all of the world. And watching it again, I was okay. Like, I don't know if this did actually go a little bit wacky and a bit.
Yeah, it just loses it a bit there. But just the idea of to get to different routes for your life, the only way to do that is to do the most random thing ever, because everything is predetermined otherwise. So you have to do something absolutely off the wall to get to that other branch of a universe. And I think that's just really fun. It's a great idea. And yeah, it is wonderful. I loved it. I watched it. I think I've only watched it twice, but I would 100% just watch it again today.
Fair enough.
I wouldn't say that I would never watch it again. I probably would watch it again because there was enough in there to watch again. I'd almost want to watch it again with like Jenny to get someone else's opinion afterwards. But like, apart from, as you say, getting swept up when you're watching it the first time, that there were times when I'm like, but what? So what? It's like I kept thinking this is surface.
Interesting.
Show me some. I never connected to that concept of the daughter feeling alienated, not quite accepted by the mum, and the whole dynamic with the laundromat and it getting played out in these other universes. Like, sometimes I was like, oh, this is cool, then other times I was like, this is silly. All that dildo shit and stuff going up the bum, I'm like, how are we doing this? How is this telly, man? This isn't Jackass. But horses for courses, isn't it?
Butt plugs for some people, not for other people.
Yeah.
Jamie Lee's in it though.
Yeah, she is. That's fair.
Spoke about it twice in a row. There you go. She made it into the top 3.
Jamie's all over the top 3.
Jamie, please.
Well, I'm glad you still done with it, and it's good to see original. I'm happy to see original content up there.
Absolutely. Go on. Number 2.
Oh, it's me. Yeah, well, this one took me by surprise because it only became my number 2 day before the year ended when I rewatched it. It's Top Gun Maverick.
Oh, wow.
So I watched.
So surprising.
Funnily enough, I watched Top Gun Maverick on the same day that I watched Everything Everywhere All at Once. I came out of Top Gun, then went into Everything Everywhere. And when I watched Top Gun Maverick, I gave it a 7. Because I was like, oh, well, you know, as people know, if you're listeners to the podcast, we covered Top Gun with Stacey last year, and me and Paul really didn't like it. We had nothing but criticisms for it for the most part. Yeah. And this is just so strange because, without spoiling it for you, Paul, and you absolutely have got to see it, I'm sure you will love it too. Very soon. It isn't like you could say, oh, it's nothing like the original.
Have you not seen it?
No.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It is like the original, but it's the original done so much better, and with characters you care about, with the Tom Cruise you care about, the stunt work, the aerial, the flight work, all of it is brilliant. And that cinema experience, I think, is probably one of the best cinema experiences I've had in years. And of course, Top Gun, Tom Cruise is the one to come and fucking save cinema in that way, because that big screen experience of Top Gun with Tom Cruise doing all those stunts, the practicality of those stunts is amazing. And I watched it the other day with Jenny at home, and at the end she was like, that is everything you say a movie should be. If you're going to make a movie like that is everything you say a movie should be, so how can you not be giving that at least a 9? And I pondered on it, and I'm like, yeah, of course, because like this what CGI there is in there is incredibly minimal. So much is practical. The story you give a fuck about. The stakes are there. It is thrilling stuff. And I know, Adam, you compare it to Star Wars. Maybe that's true or not, but for me,
there is a very heavy plot link between the two.
Maybe there is, but this was thrilling stuff.
It is very good, and it is mental, and it is, yeah. When you get your new TV, Paul, whack it on.
That's my plan.
It'll work very well on a new TV.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
it's on
it is
Paramount
really good stuff.
Plus, isn't it?
And
I was going
Tom
to watch it when I was
Cruise-
back at my parents' for Christmas, but no, I didn't get.
Yeah,
around to
we
watching
tried. We tried watching it at my parents' several times, but it kept buffering. We were like, oh, fuck this. We watched the opening scene about 10 times with my brother, and then with my dad, then with my mum, because we kept trying to start it over. But yeah, it is incredible. And Adam, where did you place this?
I put it at number 9.
There you go. And Adam really don't like Tom Cruise, so if it's hitting his
gave it
top
an
10 of the
8.
year, that's saying something. Yeah, it's a 9 for me. Great stuff.
Yes. Well, good. Okay, do you want to go for my number 2 then?
Adam's number 2.
This is my film. Is a film neither of you have seen, and it is the David Bowie film Moon Age Daydream.
Oh,
So,
wow!
I
I've
don't
got
know.
this high.
It's absolutely, it's a 10 out of 10. It's, I don't know, it's
Is
just
it a 10, is it?
Yeah, it's just mental. It's just like you need to watch it, and you need to just immerse yourself completely again within this film. It's all this weird footage, all integrated. They say it's one of those things. Oh, it's more than just a film. It's like it does feel like it's more than just. You're not just watching a documentary. You're not just watching a film. It's like this weird, wacky, immersive, and kind of trip that is all telling you that you're telling the story of his life and all this unseen footage. And yeah, I think it's great. I think it's similar to that Get Back, of where it just, if you like it, you can't help but love it and give it a 10.
Well, we'll take your word for it.
Yeah, I think we'll just
Because
leave
we
it.
can't hear a word you're saying,
word you
mate,
said.
sadly.
Oh, sorry.
But the listeners, if the listeners heard, that's why it's on his list.
I just said if you love it, you can't help but give it a 10. It's like Get Back in that way.
And true to form, we got a music thing in there from Adam,
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah. Even though I swear he said there wasn't any more.
Yeah, he did. Adam loves the music films more than anyone. Because he loves music more than film.
He does. Do you want my number 1 film of 2022?
What could it be?
Do you want my number 1 film of all time?
Let's hear it.
It's 2022's The Batman by Matt Reeves. I am absolutely in love. If you didn't know already, I'm absolutely in love with Batman. And putting the two things together, my two loves, Batman and film, it can only be good. It can only be good. I mean, it could be bad. It could be Batman and Robin, but this time it was the best it could possibly be. And so what they've created, the city, Gotham, it is gothic, it is beautiful, it is dark, it is exactly how I want Gotham to be. I'm even going to say it's better than Gotham of The Dark Knight, because it's more close to the comic books, where that was just like New York in Dark Knight. And I like this is like closer to the actual comics. Pattinson as Batman, exactly how I'd imagine someone whose parents have been killed and how their mindset would be if you're going out to fight crime. Hell yeah, you would be this emo, depressed guy. And it makes sense, right? I didn't get any sense of that with Christian Bale. And I'm trying to put Dark Knight down. It's one of my favourite films of all time as well. But this is how it ups the ante when it comes to being a Batman film. And the fight choreography, it felt like Arkham Asylum game. It felt like he was getting beaten up just as much as he was beaten up. I've never seen Batman be portrayed as something to fear. The initial scenes of showing him, he was scary. I was scared. To see him coming out of those dark alleyways to confront the bad guys, the gang leaders, it is terrifying stuff. And just to see all the other all the other criminals in the city just staring off into the abyss like, oh shit, is he coming for me? Great, so well played. The fucking Batmobile, it's like a fucking beast in that film. Just to growl, to be in the cinema, and it was like the seats were vibrating when that Batmobile came out. So great. And the chase scene with Penguin, fucking so well played, even though Adam felt that they were just stuck in traffic. I'd never seen a chase happen in traffic before, and they fucking nailed it. And that was a beautiful scene. I know it's been all in the trailers when it's upside down with Batman walking towards. Just fucking put that on a fucking poster, mate. Wonderful. And just in general, just layering up the inhabitants of Gotham with all these small characters. You don't see Catwoman that much. You don't see Penguin that much. They're just kind of like sideline characters, but it builds up the personality of Gotham to show the early days of the Joker as well. It just layers up Gotham to be like, this place is bubbling with villains and it's ready to go. It could be any of them rising up at any moment, and I just fucking adore it. It is wonderful.
So you absolutely stand by it being the best, not only of the films.
I love it.
The best film of all time was a bold call at that time. You're going to stick on that.
I'm sticking by it because I although I adore The Dark Knight as well, but putting them together, I'm like, it's not. I mean, how do you rate two films? It's like you don't rate them by how Batman they are, but no. When you put them together, this is more Batman than The Dark Knight, and I adore The Dark Knight. But there's just something about it. I think just because it is leaning so much more into the world of Batman and Gotham, that it just kind of wins it just that little tiny bit.
More faithful to the comic books, so you can't argue with that, really. If you're a diehard fan, as you are, of that sort of stuff, that's going to do it for you.
Absolutely.
I'm glad that it did it for you, and I'm not going to knock it because there isn't anything to knock. I would just say, for me, I'm now happy for there not to be any more. I know, obviously, you would like it to continue, but for me personally, it's like that was another interpretation of the Batman story. I don't have the background that you do with it, obviously. I enjoyed seeing it as well. I enjoyed seeing the darker take on it and things like that, but I didn't find it as engaging and compelling as the Nolan ones. So for me, it was kind of like, if you weren't in my life, Paul, and I didn't have the Batman fan, if I went and saw this, I'd have been like, what's the fucking point? This would be me without you. It'd be like, what was the fucking point of that? We just had Nolan's films, which were great. Why have we got this one? Why are we doing the universe again?
That's fair. And any other thing that'd be it's like saying the same about Halloween. It's like, why are we having another Halloween? Because it's like, but you have the fans out there that are gonna absorb it and love it.
But good, there you go.
There's my number one.
Nothing's ever going to take its top spot until
I'm very happy
Joker
until the
2.
next Batman
best
film.
ever film.
Or Joker 2. Is it?
It's your turn. Yes.
Good. Banshees of Inisherin, number one film, best film of the year. Hopefully it wins the Oscar next year for best film. I think all the boys have seen it here.
Yep.
If
I
you
got
haven't
number
seen
3.
it, there you go. Oh yeah, of course, you both had it in your list. Just an absolutely brilliant concept. Two friends, one day, one friend doesn't like that friend anymore, and the other friend can't understand why, and then their relationship plays out over 2 hours, and it's all about the doubts people have about themselves, about the people in their lives, who they are in respect to the people they surround themselves with, their own failings, projecting that on others, almost embodying other people's failures and taking it on your own shoulders, and setting this story in this like corner of Ireland, in this little rugged island where you've just got this one little pub boozer where everyone comes together, where it almost feels like there is no escape other than this place, which can either be your salvage or it can be the destruction of you, is brilliant. There's so much to laugh at in it, but there's so much that pulls at your heartstrings as well, and not in a manipulative way in any way. It just feels very real. The whole thing feels real. Every scene feels like it's got something you can relate to in a way, and it's probably Colin Farrell who's amazing here. You can't help but feel for him. You put yourself in his shoes, and it feels desperately sad, but it's funny at the same time. And it just makes you think you got to stop taking shit so seriously. Stop sweating shit that doesn't really matter. Are you getting joy from the things that you're doing? Is that bringing you joy? If it's bringing you joy, do it. If it's not bringing you joy, don't do it. But maybe wonder what's not bringing you joy. Is it the fact that you're doing it with these people, or is it the fact that it's saying something about you? It's a very ponderous film.
Yeah.
You can enjoy it on the surface, you can have a good laugh with it as well, but it makes you think. And yeah, it absolutely will make you want a pint afterwards, which I swiftly went out in Covent Garden and had a pint of porter at the Harp in Covent Garden. I think it's the best of the Martin McDonagh films that I've seen, personally. Yeah, it's the best. Best film of the year.
I still think In Bruges would top it for me, but yeah, it's such a simple idea, isn't it? And I could literally just watch any film with fucking Farrell and Gleeson.
Yeah, 100%.
There's such great chemistry between them.
I need to
both, and
rewatch Banshees before I can say that. Like, I've seen In Bruges so many times, but yeah. Would you reckon if you ever got older, you'd watch it again and you'd be on Gleeson's side?
No.
Nah,
you get old and grumpy,
it's about
and you'd be like, yeah, you know what, he's got a fucking point here.
Well, he does, in a way. The thing is, Gleeson's side, I don't think you're meant, I don't know, what do you think? But I don't think you're meant to think Gleeson's being completely unreasonable. I think Gleeson is, I mean, let's be real. Gleeson is all of us at a time when we're annoyed by someone in our life that we like, who does something that annoys us or frustrates us, and you think, oh, that's a failing on your part, when actually it's like, well, no, that's just their personality. That's just them. Do you want that person in your life? If you do, then accept that that person has certain things that you won't quite like, because we're not all the fucking same. Or don't have that person in your life. It's one of the two things. But in his defense, in a way, that is what he decides to do. He does decide, wake up one morning and like, I don't like this person anymore, so I want you out of my life. Are you a bad guy for doing that?
I think that's the difference, though, isn't it? Is if someone did some one thing to annoy you, I think you're in your right to blame them, depending on what it is. But the situation they put themselves in is he's just got fed up. Even though he was enjoying it this whole time, for however long they've been friends, he decided one day he doesn't want that anymore.
Yeah.
Even though nothing's changed from what it has been, but then he blames him for that. Almost.
That's the problem. Yeah, that's where he's wrong. Yes.
Yeah, it's like, well, you've been happy all this time. Don't suddenly blame me for your failings, that you're upset that you haven't achieved anything in your life.
That's right. Yeah.
It's fucking great. It's wonderful.
It is good.
Mesmerising.
It is good. I'll always think about that final scene where they're standing on the beach. Here's the thing. I knew Paul was going to do the Batman for number one, of course.
Yeah.
But I have no idea what Adam's number one is.
I know what his number one is.
Have we already spoken about it?
Yeah, I mentioned it, and he said, oh, it's in my list.
Yeah.
Was it on my list?
It was in your list.
It was on your list last year.
Oh, all right. Spoiler.
So you ready?
Spoiler.
It's a film we've been talking about
spoiler.
for 100 years, and it feels like forever. One of those films that always pops up, and that film is Boiling Point, of course.
Yeah.
And I rewatched it the other day just to make sure I fucking still love it, and I still do.
Of course you do.
There we go. Boiling Point. We can't get away from it. We wouldn't want to get away from it. It's epic.
Masterfully played.
It's a Christmas film.
It is a Christmas film. I was watching it, and I was really annoyed that I didn't put it in that Christmas Patreon episode we did recently.
Yeah, well, there you go.
I was watching it, I was like, fuck's sake, this is like, it hits the nail on the head of...
And a film that is faithfully one take.
Yeah.
Faithfully one take.
Truly
I mean,
is.
we've never done an episode on it, but we have spoken about it so much. We've probably spoken about it more than the films we actually do episodes on.
Yeah.
It's always creeping up in every little bit here and there, so...
Is Barantini still a patron?
I don't think so anymore.
He's not.
Oh, he stopped.
Yeah, he stops.
Well, we don't actually like the film that much.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. It's, oh my God. You ready for this?
Go on.
Boiling Point, Banshees, and Batman. The 3 Bs.
The BBB.
Yep.
It's
For the Ben
all
Busters.
Bs.
All B's, baby.
Busters.
Banshees, Batman, and Boiling. Boiling, Batman's Banshees. And there we go.
There we go. Would you like to know what our patrons' top films of 2022 are?
Definitely.
Okay, let's go in first with Mr. Julio.
Oh, shit.
Hello, Filmbusters. This is Julio from The Contrarians, wishing you a happy end of 2022, I guess. As far as 2022 movies go, I haven't seen that many of them. Watched a lot of movies this year, but only a handful of those were from 2022. Thankfully, I watched one that is far and away one of the best movies that I've seen. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be in the top spot for 2022 rankings, even after I've filled out all my other 2022 blind spots. And that is the sequel to Knives Out, Glass Onion, which is just as good as you would want a Knives Out sequel to be. Really funny, really smart, really creative, with a fantastic cast. I think it's a must-watch for anybody who's a fan of the detective genre, the whodunit genre. Even though, of course, it being Rian Johnson, there's always a twist to the whodunit. But yeah, I recommend it heartily. I can't wait for you guys to talk about it because I'm sure you'll watch it eventually. But that is 100% my pick for best 2022 movie that I've seen.
Well.
Hey, Julio, as I said earlier, some people like butt plugs, some people don't.
Yep.
You can listen to our spoiler talk at the end of this episode. You can see what we really think.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
It's not the best film, though, is it, Ben?
It's certainly not the best film, but I'm glad that he's picked that because he broke away from the Marvel stuff.
Yeah, that's fine.
Original content.
Original content, yes.
Original content. That's what it's got to be all about.
Okay. Do you want another one?
Yes.
Chuck in another one.
We can try and guess again.
Davina McCall.
It's for your reference. Best is both of them say Nope.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah,
100%.
definitely.
Definitely going to say that.
Definitely.
All right, well, let's get into our top 2022 release film.
Top 2022 film would be Nope by Jordan Peele.
Yep.
It covered layers, nuances, anything that you wanted to get out of a Jordan Peele movie, you'd have it in there in droves. It's just amazing what he managed to do with this. And fundamentally, this year has been about Black joy in the FYR household.
Yeehaw!
Mm-hmm.
Well, I would also like to close this ever so hashtag film so strong. I'm talking about Jeremy Strong. I'm talking about Anne Hathaway. And it is Armageddon time, OT.
I'm not surprised.
I'm very excited. OT still needs to watch this, but I will forever be holding the bastion of Ray Romano, Jeremy Strong as a character actor of this decade.
Whoa, that's some big claims.
Yeah, for a big reference, if you're nasty.
Wow.
Ooh-hoo-hoo. We're handing the Matrix back to you. Paul, Ben, and Adam, we fucking love yous.
Love ya.
Mwah.
Big love.
Big love. Well, we knew Nope was coming.
We knew
That was
Nope
a
was
surprise
I thought they'd have both
from
said
Katie.
Nope.
Armageddon time is a big curveball.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's only just come out, and I don't think it's even come out for us yet.
No, I didn't even know anything about it.
I'd never even heard of it.
Yeah, they talking about it recently. I've avoided hearing what they had to say on it. I think only Katie's seen it. I don't think OT has seen it.
Yeah.
But it's got to be good if Katie rates it more than Nope.
Wow. That is big talk.
I guess we didn't really say much about Nope earlier. In my defense, because I almost feel like I have to defend myself because I gave it a 6 out of 10. I just, for me, watching it, like Jenny disagrees with me entirely, but when I was watching it just as a film, I couldn't, there wasn't enough for me to grip into. There were certain elements of it that I found interesting, but for me, there wasn't enough there that I thought, oh yeah, cool, I get what's happening here. I get the significance of this. I could see some significance, but I couldn't see the grand significance of it. But I know that it means a hell of a lot to OT, particularly if you hear their end of year wrap up. OT gets very angry at anyone who hasn't got time for Nope.
Yeah.
I've only heard him so angry before when talking about Will Smith and Chris Rock slap.
Did you feel very bad?
I almost felt like he was attacking me. I got to say, he was like, fuck off if you don't like it. Fuck you, man. Fuck you if you don't want to find the deeper meaning in it. It's like, look, Oti, if you're listening, it's not that I don't see the deeper meaning in it. I'm sure there is a deeper meaning that maybe I've missed on it, but the surface didn't tantalize me enough to dig into it. You know what I feel like it's a comparison to? It's like the Twin Peaks universe for those two. They watched the first couple of Twin Peaks and then they're like, we are out. And I'm like, hey, there is so much to it. There is so much depth, so much beauty. Not you egomaniac. Katie and Oti.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about us two.
No. But I want to watch it again because of how much love they give it, and I feel I've always rewatched all of Jordan Peele's films and reappraised them.
It's
that
whole thing of like
watch,
they obviously are trying to say that it's all about exploitation, isn't it? So
yeah, but see, I get that.
But then it's like it's done.
But it's got to be more.
It's like it's done. The message is there. It's clear. But like, I don't know. It's not like with Get Out and all of that where it still goes deeper. But I'm glad they enjoyed it. And they
Films
had a
have got
great
to
year,
work.
and they had him come on the podcast, which obviously.
Films have got to work on the surface for you before you want to delve deep. What's the point in watching something just to delve into it without actually liking it?
Yeah, I need to be able to like it and delve into it. And I it was okay, but the thing for me was and this is really not for me to be saying, to be honest with you, but the whole Black Joy thing, I totally get that Black Joy representation in film. I'm all for it, but what that does, so by comparison, Get Out and Us showing black people in real jeopardy, trauma, going through shit, whereas Nope, there is a threat, but they're not being traumatized by it. They're not really being brutalized by it. In fact, they manage to control it and harness it for themselves. So I like that flip, but what that does, black or otherwise, is it removes a dramatic element. Whereas, so when I was watching that film, I never really felt the drama. The only drama I felt was with the monkey when the guy was a kid.
Yeah, that was my favourite part.
The whole UFO and what it represented and whatnot is like, okay, yeah, cool, but it's like Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I don't care for that movie either, because it's like, okay, here's a UFO, but so what? There's no stakes or threat really there. But I will rewatch it.
See what you think on the second one.
Yes.
Do you want our final patron pick of 2022?
What's Jamie?
Well, I've got really no idea what he's going to pick.
Banshees of Inisherin.
Yes.
I'm sticking with Banshees.
Okay.
What do you think? Do you think it's boiling point?
No.
I literally have no idea. We'll whack out a curveball.
I think Jamie may have even gone Top Gun Maverick.
Oh, shit. Okay, should we find out?
Let's find out.
Letterboxd comes to my rescue yet again. So for my favourite 2022 film, I've watched so far 39 films from this year, with only a handful of these getting 4.5 stars and no 5 stars. But I think the film that I will choose is one that I suspect will be high up on your lists as well. And it's McDonagh's The Banshees of Inisherin. And it's sort of film that I waited a long time for, since it was initially announced with a reteaming of Gleeson and Farrell for the first time since In Bruges. Through tantalising positive festival reviews, and this was a film that I wasn't going to miss, and my expectations were really high, which, as we know, can be a problem. But I personally think this is McDonagh's best film. It succeeds in exploring universal experience and the abrupt deterioration of an island friendship, focusing on the seemingly small scale and crescendoing into tragedy as it progresses. It's of no coincidence that this private, personal war takes place within the background of a civil war, the most personal of wars possible. I think it's just excellent performance all round, and I can't wait for a rewatch when it drops on Disney, I think on December the 21st. Anyway, that's all for me. It's been a fantastic podcasting year for you guys, and keep on busting through next year and beyond. Thank you.
I knew it, Jamie, and it's well worth being there. I totally get it. There you go.
You heard us talk about it. There you go.
He said it's the best
All
one.
very, very worthy winners.
But on reflection, I stand by it. 2022, a poor year in film overall. Disappointing year in film. I'm disappointed that some of the films that have made my top 10 are even in my top 10.
Wow.
There you go.
Well, I got my favourite film of all time, so I'm pretty
I know.
happy.
There must
you
be
were
some
happy.
good ones in there. There might be some gems you've never even seen yet that come out through.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
There's always going to
maybe.
be that.
So,
That's it.
that's
all
it.
our films.
I guess the final thing to do is change some rankings on
Let's
our
change
list from the
some
year
rankings.
before we move into 2023.
Should we start from the person with the least amount of things changed all the way to the things with the most?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, so Adam, what do you want to change this year?
I am going to upgrade a rating of Nocturnal Animals from a 9 to a 10.
Oh, I had a feeling you were going to do that, you know.
shit.
I had a feeling you wanted to do that.
Fuck, what's that going to do to the scores?
Oh, shit. 10? You give it a 9, don't you? And I give it an 8. It's a 9.
Wow.
So, it's gone from an 8.7 to a 9. And there's three other films with a 9. So, should we try and place it?
Yes.
One Night in Miami. One Night in Miami's better.
Nocturnal's better.
Oh,
Nocturnal is better, yeah.
shit. Okay. Face Off. Face Off is better.
Face Off's better.
There we go.
Okay.
Sits right there at 11.
Wow.
Just misses the top 10. That went high,
Wow.
man.
So you basically moved it up from 15th.
Yeah.
15th
Well,
to
that's secured it.
11th. Yeah. Kept it from leaving the top 20 for a while.
Look at that. It's a 10. It's a 10 for Adam.
Look at that. That's wonderful.
I know. All right. I'm not sure. So it's my turn now, yeah?
Yeah.
I'm not sure entirely how much of a difference this is going to make, but I don't like how close it is to the top, and I really don't like the film, and I think I only gave it a 7 because we had Stacey on. So True Romance, I'm downgrading from a 7 and giving it a 6.
Holy shit.
It's probably not going to make too much difference, but I
Scott
don't think
came in
it
and
doesn't
gave that a
deserve
9
that
as
7.
well.
I have to nullify that. True Romance is one of them films I've never understood why everyone loves so much. So
It gets an 8.4. There's only one other film with an 8.4, and that's Judas and the Black Messiah. So I think it's better than that.
Judas and the Black Messiah is better.
I think Judas is better.
Oh,
There we
look at that.
go.
There you go. Below Judas. That
And
is
above
dropped.
Buster Scruggs, which is criminal too.
Yeah. What can you do?
Just giving it a
What do you
5
do?
then.
I'm glad about that though. I'm glad I've pushed True Romance down.
If you gave it a 5, it would drop massive because there's so many 8.3s.
I know. And this one just goes to show that I'm humble and I'm just being real.
Okay.
Ghostbusters Afterlife, which last year won me so much and I love so much. There was that immediate knee-jerk reaction to having that joy brought into my life. It is not a 9 out of 10 film.
Poor baby.
It's not a 9. Just have to be real. It's clearly not. But it is very good and I enjoyed it. So I'm just going to knock it down a peg and I'm taking it down to 8.
It drops it severely, you know.
I know. But
So it's got
that's
a
it.
straight 8. Do you want to put it up against some films?
It's a straight 8, is it?
Yeah.
So that means it goes up against Tony Scott's The Hunger. It's better than that.
It's better than that.
Wildlife.
Wildlife.
Wildlife is better. I have to be real.
It's better than Wildlife.
Wildlife is better.
There we
There you
go.
go.
Fucking knocked it, cracked it down, man.
Cracked it down, son.
See what I did to my baby. See how
Poor
I hurt my
baby.
baby.
Poor
I had to
baby.
be real. It's not a 9.
Yeah. That's good. Well, you should be honest with yourself. You ready for me?
Let's hear yours.
Okay. Midsummer. It's going from a 9 to a 10. I had
Oh,
to do
shit.
it. I couldn't leave it at a 9. It's a 10 out of bloody 10, and that's
Fucking
so.
hell.
Let's see how it goes. Adam, you gave it a 6. Ben gives it a 10. It's a 6 and 2 10s. And Jamie, he also gave it a 9, so it jumps the score to an 8.75. It's going to get into the top 20 at least.
There it is.
Oh
Well, it
my
deserves it.
God.
It deserves it. But you know what you've done, Paul? You've pushed the Batman out of the top 20.
It's fine. It's all right.
He's going to
There
upgrade
you
the
go.
Batman to an 11.
That's fine.
We're all killing our babies today. I'm killing Ghostbusters and he's killing the Batman.
Right, let's put it up against the two films that are at 8.75, and that is RoboCop. It's better than RoboCop.
Better than RoboCop, yeah.
It beats it. Okay, and now, is it better than The King of Comedy?
It's better than the King of Comedy.
It is. So, yes, there you go. It's the new 12.
Oh, is that as far as it goes? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Wow,
That's it.
look at that.
That's
Fucking hell.
nice. That's beautiful. I like that.
So, we have one new addition in our top 20, which is Midsummer.
Mm-hmm.
And we lost the Batman.
We did.
But you still got two more films.
I've got two more films. You ready for two more?
Let's hear them.
Do you want me to drop something? Okay, they're both on a 7. Do you want me to drop something to a 4 or drop something to a 5?
I want you to do both.
Pick one. Because
You've got 3.
I'm going to use the other one for something very big.
All right, do the one that drops from a 7 to a 4.
Okay, it's The Rise of Skywalker. I really wanted to get rid of this because the more I thought about it, the more it really annoys me what they do with that film. Just the fact that Palpatine, they reveal Palpatine in fucking Fortnite. That's how they revealed he was coming back. You fucking stupid piece of shit. You absolute stupid piece of shit. And the way they treated Kelly Marie Tran, right? She was the love interest in fucking the one before it, and she got bullied. She got fucking bullied on social media because people didn't like her, and they fucking do her dirty in this film. You actually fucking piece of shit for doing that to her as well. So you fucking deserve it.
Hey, do you want to know why? Because you guys, you live in the Star Wars, DC, Marvel universes where your fan bases are toxic. I ain't a part of no toxic fan base.
Halloween.
You give it a 7.
Halloween ain't got no toxic fan base. Hey, that's wrong. I shouldn't give it a 7. That's for sure.
Anyway, it's dropping to a 4. So we got a 4 from me, a 7 from Adam, and a 7 from Ben. Let's see where it lands.
And a 3 from Julio.
Oh shit, yeah. And a 3 from Julio. It goes to a 5.25. It's in the bottom 20 at least.
It was in the bottom 20 already.
It was in the bottom 20 already, yeah.
Oh, okay, well, I've just made it further into the bottom.
It pushes
I pushed
it further down. That's good.
Pushed it further down. So we're
That's
at 5.25. It's only against one film, which is In Time. I will put it below In Time just because... What do I rate In Time? I'd probably give it a 5 anyway.
I can't remember about In Time, but I'd say Skywalker is better.
I think Skywalker's better than In Time, yeah.
I gave it a 5, so it's worse.
Yes.
So it goes...
than In Time.
12 then.
So it goes above In Time and below Power Rangers.
It can go there. There we go. That is where Skywalker sits. I'm happy with that. It's fine. I just need to get that off my chest and change my score for that reason. But here's the big one. Are you ready for the big one?
Yes.
Are you ready for the big boy?
We got to hear it.
I'm giving something a 10. And this is something you also both give a number 10. So it will automatically go into contention with The Irishman.
What the fuck?
Oh, it's going to be, I know what it is.
Cinema Paradiso.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Well, I mean, so it's triple. This is our new number 2 then. Well,
Yes.
is it? Is it our new number 2?
Personally, I'd still say Irishman's better than Cinema Paradiso.
Yeah, Irishman's better.
There we go.
Fuck.
What would you say? Would you say Irishman?
I don't really know. I need to rewatch The Irishman.
You used to give it a 9, mate.
I know.
I know.
Well, there you go. It's our number 2. We've got a new number 2, guys.
Cinema Paradiso. So Cinema Paradiso jumped up from 6 to second.
To 2. Look at that.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Look at that. So now our new top 5 is The Irishman, Cinema Paradiso, Home Alone, There Will Be Blood, and Whiplash.
Wow, wow, wee, wow.
Wow, wow, wee, wow.
Yeah, that's nice.
There's only 2 films we've ever done that are 3/10. Do you know what? I can't even remember our Cinema Paradiso episode.
We had a very nice time. Lot of love.
Paul's moving everything around in that top 20, bottom 20 area.
Big changes.
Well,
And that's it. That's it. That's the episode, guys.
That was good. It was fucking long, but it was good. Are we splitting that into 2 releases, or was it one big one?
That's just one fucking big release for you guys.
Oh, fuck. Anyway, because we've been recording for so long, let's just say goodbye and thank you for watching and listening throughout 2022.
And we'll see you on the Patreon now for our Letterboxd wrap-up if you're over there.
Yes.
And for those who are still listening, the next film in the year of 2007 is Zodiac, by the way.
Oh, shit, yeah, boy!
So,
we already
see
knew
you
that.
for that.
Enjoy
Goodbye.
this spoilerific talk about Glass Onion. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye bye. Enjoy the Glass Onion.
When that glass is the glass is placed and he picks the glass up. When the real scene was he hands in the glass.
No, he doesn't.
No.
He puts it in the wrong place. He picks up the wrong glass.
No. You see that? That's what happens, right? That's what he tells you happens. When in reality he hands in the glass.
Well, then that's them retelling the story. His point of view, the narrative. You're listening to what...
He convinced everyone. Benoit Blanc convinced everyone that's what happened. But it didn't happen.
Wait a minute. Hang on. You're saying... But when I first watched it and Ed Norton passes the glass to Baptista, right?
Yeah.
He
you
passes
see that the first time.
You see that, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
But I didn't notice it the first time.
Okay.
When they play that scene out again...
Yeah.
And when the scene is shown... It shows him placing the glass down and then him picking it up. And then it's revealed at the end that he actually gave it to him.
Yeah, but you're seeing the scene 3 times. The second time is when he's telling the story.
You're misleading your audience, and that is the mystery you're holding the whole story on.
No, but the first time it happens, he hands him the glass.
It's already done. You're backtracking and then changing a scene because
I'm saying the first time.
I didn't notice the first time. Because why would I be looking out for something like that?
Exactly. Yeah, but that's the clever thing. So, all right. So when I was watching, none of this is going to go in the podcast now because this is spoiler. But
yeah.
I was watching it with Jenny, and exactly when that scene happened, I said, "I know what's happened there." And I said to her, "Did you see anything?" And she was like, "What?" I said, "I'm not going to say anything until we get to the end of the film." And then, true enough, when he's like, he told you that he put that there, but actually. It was in live front of us the whole time.
Don't you think it's more tantalising if you're the only one who saw it and then they don't have to backtrack and try and change it?
But they didn't backtrack and change it.
They did. They because that was the mystery.
It's a narrative you're seeing.
That's the mystery, right? They're revolving a whole thing about him dying, and it's all to do with the glass, right?
Who's backtracking it though?
No, I'm saying Benoit Blanc is revolving a whole mystery around the glass, right? And him lying to everyone else about what happened to the glass. When in actuality, you already saw that scene and was like, but that's not what happened.
Yeah,
so
I know,
how is that clever?
But it's clever because... I feel like we're getting our wires crossed here. It's clever because you said yourself that you didn't notice it, so you believe Ed Norton's sort of chain of events.
Yeah, but because I didn't see it, they're just changing history. So that's not clever.
Mate, I don't understand what you're saying. If I said
this, right? If I said this is the same situation. If I said some guy just walked in and punched Ben in the face, yeah, that is the story that I've just told everyone, and everyone's like, oh my god, some guy just came in and punched Ben in the face. When in actuality, they punched Adam in the face, but I just made up a story saying that you got punched in the face. It was actually Adam.
Yeah, but you're trying to defend yourself. You're trying to get yourself out of trouble.
Yeah, look, the reason that Ed Norton tells that story is because he's
doesn't.
Like... Ed Norton,
Benoit Blanc tells the story.
Ed Norton in the narrative is like, my glass was down there, that was... Yeah, but Benoit Blanc was like, that was meant for you. But at that point, Benoit Blanc... doesn't necessarily know exactly what happened in that scenario. It's because Ed Norton's like, my glass was down there too. We as an audience have seen the reality, so we saw it. But then because Ed Norton was like, oh, this is what happened, and Benoit wants to play that game with him, and he's like, oh yeah, the audience is like, oh yeah, but actually it's already been revealed to us. So at the end, when he's like, it was I know, but that's fine. That's fine. Jenny
it's not,
didn't
because
either.
then it makes it into a shit mystery when it...
No, it doesn't, because I saw it. Some people will see it.
It's just false narration.
It doesn't matter. No, it's about being led astray by someone. Just because someone says something straight, it's basically the Usual Suspects thing. From the off, you could say about Usual Suspects, oh shit, because...
No, because
like,
everything was there all along.
It was a lie.
Because it's all on the board all along, and he was seeing it the whole time.
But
where here, they change it.
Mate,
I feel like we're going around in circles here.
When you watch that scene for the first time, Ed Norton hands him the glass. It ain't the filmmaker's fault if you don't see it.
But it is when they manipulate the audience into thinking that the scene didn't play out that way.
But
then this is why I'm saying the film works on levels. Like, you can re-watch these films and learn
I don't know.
But the rest of the scene film doesn't work once you know.
Me and you will not agree on this one because I can't understand what you're saying.
Because the literal thing has been changed.
It's telling a story. They did it in the first one. They did it always in the story.
No, they didn't, because Benoit Blanc is going along with it.
This is what happened.
Benoit Blanc is going along with it and saying this is what happened and telling people the glass was picked up. The wrong glass was picked up. He's telling everyone that, but that's not what happened.
But Benoit Blanc is trying. We already know that Ed Norton is the murderer, and they're there to frame him. That's why Benoit Blanc is doing that.
I don't think it's clever in the slightest. Basically,
well,
it's not a clever plot point. It's just something that's been changed.
I mean, it wasn't that deep for me in any case.
But basically, that's the only thing that's creating the mystery is the fact that the glass. That's all I'm saying. That's the only point that you're going to see differently on the rewatch. Everything else is just straightforward.
Filmbusters.